What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to week 240 of the Voice of the Fans. Cleavon, thank you for being here. Let's get the show started.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name is Cameron.
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy? I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Think about it like this: the promoter pays the fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently? When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the
Oh
Fan
my goodness!
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
tears.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right? Like you said, Pacific Northwest. So, I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for the whole
Ken. Nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I feel like that translated.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every week to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Like I say, it's week 240. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be nowhere without you. Well, this show wouldn't be much without you guys. So I really appreciate you guys for tuning in to the podcast. I'm going to try something real quickly. Fans. I should have had this ready. But let me see if I can pull it. Let me see if I can pull this up. Cleveland, I know you remember back in the day. Back in the day, they had some great commercials. Was so much better back in the day. I don't know if it was just nostalgic that I'm thinking about, or if it was if they were actually better. But I'm gonna try to do something different, Cleveland. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna see if I can make this happen, because it's that time of the year. And I'm just feeling the vibe. Like, late August, early September, we gotta play the Fox NFL. Dun, 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 dun. Right now, I want to see if I can pull up some. If I can pull up this. Here we go. Cleveland, let me know if I can hear. If you can't hear it, just yell out right now. I can't hear it, okay?
Can't hear it.
Well, it's not playing yet, goofball. It's not playing yet. Let me know. Can you hear this? Can you hear it?
Just a little bit. That hauling out.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Any more? Any better?
Nope. Just a little bit. Worthy with a 360.
Is that 101?
Mo Chase down the line.
Ooh, there's your boy. There's classic, man.
Just barely hear it.
All right, well, the fans, the NBA is fantastic. That's essentially
NBA
what
is
I wanted.
fantastic.
That's essentially what I wanted to tell you guys. NBA is fantastic. Even though the Supersonics is not around, Cleveland, even though they're not around, I'm still enjoying this game. I legitimately went, what was that, 2008, 2009 without a team. 2008 to 2009 without a team because, as we know, the Seattle Supersonics were stolen from Seattle. Well, it wasn't really stolen. Everybody, the businessmen knew what was going on. They knew they were going to get sold and then moved out of town.
Gifted, I think, would be the better phrase. Yeah.
So, man, the Sonics. How could we not have the Sonics in town? And so there ain't been no basketball team from my hometown. The team I grew up rooting for, oddly enough, was no longer in existence and hasn't been in existence since 2009. Cleveland, 2008. Excuse me, 2008. We're going on 15 years now. That's ridiculous. But you guys weren't going to the games anyway, Cleveland, because that season I pulled up to the stadium, Key Arena at the time, and got front row tickets. Well, not front row tickets. I think I was fourth row tickets for like $75 the day of the game. You guys weren't going to the game. But nonetheless, man, I spent a year without no team, tried to root for OKC until they got rid of KD and Westbrook. And then I floundered around and landed on the Clippers. Because I moved to LA, folks. And I just couldn't jump on the bandwagon. I refused to jump on the bandwagon of the purple and gold team. I refused to be a fair weather fan and just jump on. I refused to do it. Kobe was whining and complaining not too long before that. I refused. So I wasn't doing it. So I started rooting for the Clippers. And y'all see where that got me. The Clippers had their best chance to do something in the last 4 years and nothing. But fans, each and every week we start our show off. We talk about what we're going to talk about this week is we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, man. The NBA playoffs is fantastic. If you're not watching it, shame on you. You need to be watching it. Best programming on TV right now. We're going to talk about the NFL offseason. We got some boxing conversation. We're going to get deep into boxing today. We got our guest, Champside, going to come on and talk some boxing with us and educate Mr. Cleveland on why he should be watching boxing. We had a Canelo fight over the weekend, was a boo-boo fight. UFC fight over the weekend. But why we should be watching boxing? I've been beating this drum, trying to beat it over Cleveland's head for the last 3 years, but he don't want to have nothing of it. So we're gonna have somebody else join in the fray and get after him. We're gonna talk about some NFL rumors. We got some strange rumors, Cleveland, that I'm not sure how I feel about this, but we got some strange rumors we're gonna talk about. NHL playoffs, Cleveland. NFL playoffs is cracking. The playoffs is cracking.
Cracking around these parts, Cam.
I mean, we might get into some MLB conversation. I don't know how the Mariners doing. What the
We're not ready to get into MLB conversation just yet.
I mean, it's going to be in another week or two. It's going to be mid-season. It's going to be the mid-season classic.
It will be 25% of the season.
It'll be the mid-season classic here in a couple of weeks, and we still can't talk about baseball.
Not yet.
Man, anybody? Sheesh.
We have a rule, and I'm adhering to the rule. So not yet.
Sheesh. I mean, it's getting close. We're getting closer, though. I'm looking at it. It's 48. We get closer. We might get some Major League Baseball conversation within the next couple of weeks. I don't know. But Cleveland, each and every week we start off with our numbers game. Today is May 9th, 2023. And this is week 240 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. This iteration of the podcast, 240, Cleveland. That's consistency. When you think of the number 9, though, who come to your mind first, or who do you think of? Who come to your mind first, or who wore that jersey number the best?
You know, it would be my dude, Lawyer Malloy.
Oh, listen to him. About time. Somebody some credit from down in Montlake.
Lawyer
About
Malloy,
time.
I
Gave
think,
some.
and then, you know, who wore the best? Probably Gordial. Yeah.
Yeah,
Since
Norm
we're in
Johnson.
that hockey motif. Yeah.
Norm Johnson. You don't know that. You don't know Norm Johnson.
Know a little
You
bit. Know a little bit about Norm. He was great.
Norm was
Fantastic.
Mr. Consent. I mean, did he kick for the Seahawks for 15 years? It seemed like
17, 19, 123 years.
I mean,
He for the Seahawks for a long, long time.
It was effective. He just wasn't a bum. He just wasn't a big old fat kicker. He was effective.
Good from 50.
Number 40. When you think of the number 40, this is a healthy list here. When you think of the number 40, who comes to your mind first? Who wore that number best?
Comes to mind first, Cam, is the Kansas Comet, Gale Sayers, and I think he did wear it the best.
Oh, you didn't go. You got away from Montlake, huh? Rhonda Smith has got some. Want to talk to you? Rhonda Smith want to talk to you about that.
Talk to Rhonda all the time. We cool.
I don't know. You ain't want to shout her out about nothing. What? And you don't go, Sean Kemp, Mr. Rain Man, Mr. Pull out the gun, Mr. What's going on with Kemp shooting up the parking lot at Tacoma Mall?
Wow, over a lost phone of all things. Wow,
a lost phone. Well, you can go to
phone.
AT&T and get that replaced, Kemp, for a couple $100. Come on,
you
man.
Don't have to go out there. That was kind of my rationale, but hey,
I mean, you in Tacoma, dog? You in Tacoma, dog? Tacoma, mall parking lot. Come on, Sean. Come on, Sean. Fans, usually we start off with the NFL topics, but today, man, the NBA has just been so hot. The NBA has just been so hot. We gotta talk. We gotta talk about the. We gotta talk about the NBA.
Let's talk about it.
And what just happened is a Philadelphia 76ers just took a 3-2 lead with a mopping of the Boston Celtics. Cleveland, what's your thoughts on the Sixers? The Doc said Harden said he received the gospel song from Doc, the 7-minute long gospel song for Doc, and that seemed to work. Ever since Harden went to Vegas and in between series, he came back, listened to a little gospel music, and now they're rolling. Is that more good 76ers or bad Celtics? What you think?
Oh, it's bad Celtics, man. The Celtics should be mopping these dudes.
Should be mopping them
off
up?
the floor. Oh, for sure.
Really?
You see the way Jason Tatum asserts himself. You see the way Jaylen Brown.
No. That was the problem last time. That was the last time that was the problem in last game before tonight is they didn't assert himself in the fourth quarter and then losing that game.
Oh, Jason Tatum certainly did. I mean, he's doing his part.
Not in the fourth quarter, Cleveland, as I stated again. In the fourth quarter, that was their problem. They was up and let the 76ers come back. And when it was closeout time.
Man, I don't know because I didn't really see Joel Embiid really establishing himself as the MVP in that last game. Really didn't. I was quite disappointed.
He saved it for tonight. He saved it for tonight when he did their thing. But is Missoula, obviously, we all know what happened last game is they let too much time run off the clock, didn't call a timeout and all that stuff, and kind of let that game get away from them. I mean, you say Tatum's supposed to close that game out. 12 seconds on the clock, you got the ball in your hands. Close the game out. That's what you talk about all the time, Cleveland. If you're that dude, give him the ball and move out the way, right? He couldn't do that in winning time. So you say that's bad Celtics, huh?
I mean, yeah.
We have Harden. I mean, Harden did put up 40 points in that win too, as well, and hit the game-winning shot. Though Boston had a chance to come back and retort that, but he did hit the game-winning shot. And the Celtics, they're in trouble now. They're going to Philly for Game 6. I mean, it's only down the road, but if they can win in the hostile environment, they force a Game 7. And Philly's comfortable because now they know they're comfortable. They can win in Boston. So
2 times.
it's gonna be a tough uphill battle for Missoula and the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, if the All NBA teams haven't come out yet, if he makes an All NBA team, like the Celtics can offer him like $75 million more than anybody else. So he's essentially going to be staying in Boston. But if he doesn't, like, is there a bad? Is that a bad combination? Is that a good combination? How do you see the two? A few years ago, I think the jury was out was who's the better of the two. Is Tatum better than Brown? Brown better than Tatum? They do kind of do different things. The jury was out though, but over the last couple of years, I think Tatum has surpassed him as the number one go-to guy on the team. Although Brown is really good, don't get me wrong. Brown is number 2. It was A and B. Now it's 1 and 2. Can they be the same team without Brown though? Because Brown does play better defense. What's your thoughts on it? Should he end up leaving the team?
Well, we will have to see how this series unfolds, Cam. I mean, I think that he's shown that he's a much different player in the playoffs adverse the regular season, and he rides a great shotgun to Jason Tatum. I'm so glad that controversy has been, kind of brought to an end, in which case we all understand Jason Tatum's a better player. So
well, they had to play it out. I mean, you didn't know that.
Didn't play it out, homie.
You didn't know that 3 years ago. I'm saying you didn't know that 3 years ago, though.
Okay, but now you know.
Okay, so I mean, you want to be so decisive. I mean, so
yeah,
why don't we put? Why don't we?
Real decisive. Jason Tatum is the better player between Jason Tatum and the Jaylen Brown comparison.
So since you're so decisive as the number one who's on the team, should that number one guy get all the fault for them slacking like this, for them giving up these games?
No, he's giving all he can give.
Oh, come on, stop it. You're the one who likes to say they play with their food too much. And isn't that a product of their leadership?
For sure. I mean, I know the way that you always like to lean on coaching and lack thereof in certain situations.
Well, we see what the lack of coaching has done for them. I see what the lack of coaching has done for them. Missoula had to say, okay, maybe it was my bad. Maybe I should have called a timeout.
Yeah, Udoka got him to the championship last year, so that's the standard, right?
Pretty much. But these guys, these players, where you expected them to fall off, these players has kind of carried the lead and carried them to the number 2 seed in the East. And what we've seen is the best player on the team just kind of, I don't want to say failed them, but in the crunch moments, which we will talk about somebody else here in crunch moments, that kind of failed him, if you will. It kind of failed him.
I don't think he really failed him. You can't put this on JT, man. I mean, I think he did as much as he could do.
You had the ball, you're down 1 with 12 seconds to go. You're coming up court. This is your time. Who else you to put it on? You want me to blame Derek White? You want me to blame Robert Williams? I mean, the ball's in your hand. The best player. The ball's in your hand. The best player on the court, and you don't get a bucket. You don't get a bucket to win the game. You end up running down 11 seconds, get to the hoop, pass it out, and the guy Marcus Smart gets a late 3 after the buzzer sounds, and you don't want to blame him. Who do you want to put? That's what I'm asking you. Who should shoulder the blame in Boston? It got to be the best guy. It got to be the best guy.
In that particular scenario, I won't blame Al Horford because he did a great job of D'ing up Embiid. I won't blame JT because he did a great job of getting him there. Rest of the squad.
Who?
The rest of the squad collectively.
Down 1. 12 seconds to go in the game. You don't want to blame the guy with the ball in the hands, Cleveland? Is that what you're telling me?
Not going to blame him.
Hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought right there. I want you to hold that thought right there because we might as well get into it right now. the Lakers and the Warriors. You're going to tell me now, so you're not going to blame Steph Curry for not being able to get off 2 shots in the final seconds of the game? What, they were down 2 and he pulls up. He pulls up.
Klay Thompson is 177% responsible for that loss.
Is Klay Thompson better than Steph Curry?
No.
So how are you blaming Klay Thompson? How are you blaming Klay Thompson? Who had the ball in their hand to shoot for a game-winning shot? Was it Klay Thompson or Steph Curry?
Cam, you're talking like you understand what this basketball god thing is all about.
I'm listening to. I'm trying to.
Oh.
I know the game.
Oh, you understand now.
For the last.
You understand now.
For the last 3 weeks.
Usual suspects like Jason Tatum that show up and don't deliver. Well, hey man, you're not on the list. Steph Curry's on the list. Klay Thompson on the list. Now, whether you show up and take your spot, well, that remains to be seen.
Cleveland
down 3-1 is kind of a a difficult situation to be in, but I mean, we'll see.
Okay, no, but before you go down 3-1, it's 2-2, and you're on the road, and you had the ball.
No. What do you mean before you go down 3-1? It's 2-2. No,
excuse me.
That never happens.
Thank you for correcting me. Before you go down 3-1, you're on the road, down one game, 2-1, with a chance to win the game, and the ball in your hands. He couldn't shake AD for the first jumper. Gets the ball back, and then decide essentially to do the same thing, and couldn't shake him again. And you want to blame Klay Thompson for that? Come on, man. Sure, Klay Thompson went, 3 for 9 from deep, scored 9 points in the game. Didn't help him at all. Jordan Poole didn't help him at all. But when the game is on the edge, Steph Curry has the ball in his hands and can't get the ball off.
All the glory, all the blame, Cam. All the glory, all the blame.
Again, so how are you going to mention Klay Thompson?
Because he was 3 for 9 with 7 points.
And you just told me he's not the best guy in the team. And you just told me in Boston, with Boston, you don't want to. So help us out, fans, because I don't understand. Clearly, I don't understand what's going on. Cleveland wants to give me this basketball gods, these usual suspects, these first timers, but we have a basketball. I'm not going to say Tatum's a basketball god. We can't say that. Tatum's not a basketball god, is he? Are you not? You're not putting him there.
Usual suspect.
So we have a basketball god with the ball in his hands, the final 2 shots of the game, and you're going to blame somebody else. How does that work?
Well,
exactly.
Cam, it's exactly like this. The basketball god is supposed to bail you out, and he was not able to this time. Why was he not able to? Because it was insurmountable because of the way. It
wasn't insurmountable. If you get a bucket, you win the game. Yeah, Klay, he is playing well below standard. Yes, true, and that's unarguable. But we're talking about right now the basketball god. This little fictitious categories that Cleveland came up with a few weeks ago.
It's not fictitious. It's a real thing. You're seeing it. You're seeing it play out, and it's beautiful, right, Cam?
Now he doesn't. But you don't want to put the pressure on the basketball gods. You want to blame the other guys. You want to blame the others, as Shaq would call them. You want to blame the others, and I don't know how that's possible.
I'm not.
When you got the basketball god who should be leading them.
But hey, man, if I go for 40 and you go for 9, I gotta this is disproportionate.
Steph had 31. Let's not get carried away.
That 31
let's not get carried away.
Okay, 31.
I just don't understand how you're not putting you're not putting pressure on Steph for that.
I am putting pressure on Steph.
You just said Klay Thompson deserves all the blame. Did I misunderstand?
I said more of the blame than Steph.
Oh boy. So did the Lakers Did the Lakers win that, or did the Golden State lose that?
Golden State lost that.
Oh, no, now we're coming around now. We're coming around. Because I thought you were going to tell me that Lonnie Walker IV went out there and killed him and won that game. I thought that's what you were going to do. Because I don't know if you saw it last night, Cleveland, but after that game, did you see how number 6 and number 3 were smothering Lonnie Walker? I'm not. The kid couldn't breathe. The kid needed oxygen after they got off him because they were hugging him so much because he saved them from the burning ship. He pulled him out the sinking ship he did last night.
Well,
14 in the fourth quarter.
Cam.
He saved. Don't say anything else. So what is Lonnie Walker? Is Lonnie Walker a basketball god? Is he a first timer? Usual suspect. You tell the fans right now where you have classified Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie Walker is a bench player, role player that came in and did some heroic things in Game 4 of the Western Conference semifinals.
Basketball god, usual suspect, first timer. Which one, Cleveland? Give us you break. This is your category. This is the category This is what you created.
First timer.
So why they smothering my man like that? Why they smothering like?
Because they were relieved. It wasn't going well. It could have went very sideways, but now they're up 3-1. Win one of these next 3 games, and they're in the Western Conference Finals.
I am not a Laker fans by no means whatsoever. By no means. I did root for the 2000 they won 2001 or 2000, 2001, 2003. I did root for the 2003 Kobe. That 2003 Kobe was very, 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 very impressive. The third year, after they won it, after they won it, Kobe came back and added some muscle, about 15 pounds of muscle.
Well, so that's the 2002 Lakers that you're a fan of. Okay, that's cool.
No, I'm not. I didn't say a fan of the Lakers. I said a fan of that Kobe Bryant. That's what I said. Let me be very specific.
A fan of that Kobe in 2002 because 2003, that was the game. That was the series where he was crying.
They won 2000. They won 2000.
Real man.
They won 2000, 2001, and 2002. That 2002 Kobe was the third year after their three-peat. That's what I'm saying. He came back.
It was 2000, 2001, 2002 are the championships, and then 2003 is the year they lost in the Western Conference Finals.
I didn't say nothing about 2003. I know what I'm talking about. I said 2002 Kobe. That's what I said.
No, you said 2003. You just said 2003.
They won in 2000, 2001, 2002. After that third championship, I was a fan of that third championship in 2002.
Okay, cool.
Kobe. That's what I said.
That 02.
I said it very clear.
That 02 squad.
Very clear.
No, you said 03.
Said it very
that's
clear.
Cool. No, you said 03, but that's cool. I correct.
That's a good one. Yeah, the Splash Brother one ain't splashing. That's a problem. That is a huge problem. But fans, I am not. That was the closest. I'm not a fan. But that was the most I rooted for was that and I didn't root for him. I just enjoyed his game. That he just came back. He put on muscle. He incorporated the three-pointer in that 2002 year. Very, 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 very impressive. But Lonnie Walker coming off the bench. And in crucial moments, stepping up and putting up 15 points in the fourth quarter. That was a joy to watch. Just to see the players, I'm a fan of competition. See the man get a shot and shine when he got it when he got a shot. That was impressive. That was hugely impressive. Michael Porter Jr. got 14 points in the first quarter. The Nuggets are up 29-18. And Michael Jordan, if he finished with 30 points, this might be another blowout tonight. But I just saw that they call him the timeout. Porter Jr. got if he doubles that and he ends up with 30 points tonight, this will be a blowout for sure. It'll be probably a 20-point blowout. But kudos to Porter Jr. for being healthy and getting it done. nonetheless, go ahead and talk about Lonnie Walker, man. I'm so glad he cut his hair. I'm so glad he cut that that mop. That duh. Do you remember his hair? You may not even remember this. His hair was growing forward. It was like growing forward. He had to fade in the back, but he grew forward, and so he had the. I mean, it weren't even dreadlocks or braids, but he had the whole bushel in front of his head. Did you notice that?
You know,
Pop,
Cam, I'm
Pop
not
was
really,
like,
I'm
Pop was like,
not
yo,
really
get out of here with that.
overly concerned with, you know, how he's looking right now. You know, in converse to what he was looking like before. I mean, it's simply this: he showed up when we needed him. He contributed in a way that we were not expecting, and now the series is 3-1. We go back to Chase, try and get that one. If not, come back home to the crib house.
And they haven't lost in the playoffs. You're pretty comfortable they can win game 6. Warriors are gonna win game 5.
You know, Cam, they have the
Warriors
Dragons and their backs are against the wall. They have to win a game to even you know, extend the series. So, you know, I feel they probably will win that game, yeah.
And then game 6 back at the Crypto where they're undefeated in the playoffs. And that's going to be a tough one. That is going to be a tough one to win. That's going to be a tough one to win. And so do we see LeBron's been hovering around this 24 or 21, 24, 26 point margin here in these playoffs. Do we see him go off for 35 or 40, or does he have that in him?
He absolutely still has that in him. I mean,
you think legitimately you think he has it in him?
I absolutely think he still has it in him. But I mean, you know, the caveat, I mean, you know, the wild card will be if Jack Nicholson shows up, man, and blesses the crib house with his presence.
What did Jack Nicholson say? He had nothing to do with this.
It's good luck charm.
There's plenty other Laker fans in the house.
Not like Jack.
What is the allure with Jack? What is the allure? I don't get it.
He's that dude. You know, you already know that, man. Come on now.
I mean,
now you hating on Jack?
No, I'm not hating. I'm asking what the allure is. I'm not hating on anybody. I asked what the allure is. He's a movie star. Diane Carroll's
it would be the same thing if you were asking the New York Knicks, what's the big deal about Spike Lee? If you was asking the Miami Heat, what's the big deal about DJ Khaled? Except for Jack Nicholson's got 40 years invested in it. 40 plus.
So you're saying, so we know this is going to go 6 games. We agree that this is going to be 6.
We don't know this.
So you're not
5 is at the Chase Center.
Do you expect them to spit it up? Do you expect them to spit it up? The Warriors to give up? They're not going to lose at Chase Center.
Well, they have to play the game, Cam. We're not sure. It doesn't sound very likely, but you know.
So we got street clothes. Street clothes showed up 2 games in a row. We got street clothes, alternative days for AD. Is he going to show up in game? Is he going to show up game 5?
Odd number game, right? Going to show up.
I mean, he showed up in an even game last night.
I know, that's unusual.
Yeah, so I mean, how can you be so confident we'd see the same thing in?
Because that's what he do. That's what he do.
Okay. It's interesting, man. The Lakers is by the skin of their chinny chin chin.
Well, there are 3 games to 1, Cam, and they only have to win one
game away.
The Western Conference.
1 game away from the Western Conference.
I don't know, but I don't know by the hairs of their chinny chin is really accurate because they're up 3 games to 1.
So, fans, we must turn our attention to the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, playing the Phoenix Suns. As much as I like KD, as much as Booker is balling, Denver Nuggets need to get rid of these guys so they can prepare. So they can prepare for a tired Warriors team. Because if the Warriors go 7, they're gonna have to exert a lot of energy. So the Nuggets need to prepare for a tired Warriors team so they can prance on to the NBA Finals and represent the Western Conference in the finals.
All right. I like the way your tone has changed from the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George pedestal you've been,
I mean,
on for all these.
people want to come at me with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They haven't played. Kawhi played.
Oh man, let's move on. Moving right
games.
along. I'm so sorry.
You brought him up. You brought him up. Now you don't want to talk about him.
Did I pick the scab off your eye?
You brought him up. You brought him up. Now you don't want to talk about him.
I didn't mean to poke the bear.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you did. You brought him up.
I didn't
now
mean
you
to
don't want
poke
to
the
talk
bear
about
like
him.
that, man. I didn't mean to go out Dylan Burks on you. Man. Did I go out Dylan Burks on you? So sorry, man. Because that's not even a storyline. We're talking about the NBA playoffs right now and who will ascend to be a basketball god and who will just get another.
I thought I was very clear with the fans. I thought I was just very clear with the fans. Fans, we need to turn our attention to the Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic.
So fans, hold Cam accountable. Are you on the Denver Nuggets bandwagon all of a sudden, Playboy?
We need to root for a team.
Say it out loud. Say it with your chest.
We need to turn to Jamal Murray.
Are you
Nikola
on
Jokic.
the Denver Nugget bandwagon? See or no?
We need it. Book has the limps to the side with the ankle sprain at the end of the first quarter here. Book has to take a seat in the fans. The fan gave up his seat for Devin Booker. He gave up a seat for Devin Booker to kind of gain his breath and massage that ankle a little bit. And here he comes limping to the side.
I'm so sorry, Cam. You're not answering the question for the fans. This is the voice of the fans. Are you on the Denver Nugget bandwagon now?
If we're looking at the best team in the Western Conference, yes, the Denver Nuggets.
And I feel fans, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm feeling that he is on this bandwagon just hoping somebody can stop this juggernaut known as the Los Angeles Lakers and the Kang.
The number one seed in the Western Conference.
The Phoenix Suns, he doesn't feel nearly as confident. And the way the Joker's just been fooling with him, toying with him, he wants that to be the thing.
Ooh. Booker steps up
because his Los Angeles Clippers have fallen miserably short of.
I don't know why you keep bringing up Clippers.
So what are you be doing? So I just want you to acknowledge that you jump ship and you have a new team.
I just talked about how
you have a new team.
I'm teamless right now.
Yep, you're teamless. Then why all the accolades for the Denver Nuggets then?
We want the Denver Nuggets to. We want to see a good Western Conference Finals.
Who wants
and that's
that?
going to be. And we want to see the Denver Nuggets, the number one seed.
Who wants that?
The fans want to see the best basketball.
You want that.
The fans want to see the best
because you would rather not see the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals.
Well, that may be the case. That may be the case. So the Nuggets right now, 2-2. They're playing around with these Phoenix Suns. And tonight, if Michael Porter Jr. can finish the game with 30 points, I see a double-digit blowout. Going back to last game against the Suns, between the Suns and the Nuggets, and that bump, you see the elbow, the little chicken wing that Nikola gave the fans in the building. He gave that fanboy in the building. Did you think that was worthy of a suspension? I didn't either. Yeah, I didn't either. It was a worthy of suspension as it was talking about it. Cleveland, which team has been the most impressive in the playoffs? Go ahead, open it up. That was a softball fight.
Well, Cam, the team that's been the most impressive in the playoffs is the Los Angeles Lakers. The way that from the 7th seed, they actually had to play themselves into the playoffs. I I believe as of February the 19th, they were 37 games out of even making the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they turned around. With a lot of coaching, soul searching, great defense. They were able to play themselves into that playoff game and then won that game.
Listen to
and then they were able to circumvent all the naysayers and beat the number 2 seed in the Western Conference with perhaps one of the top 5 players in the league.
What do you mean be the number 2 seed? They're playing the number 5 seed, and they're playing the number 5 seed right now.
And then someone tried to poke the bear. That didn't happen. I recall an interview, Cam, that you had with a cat named Desmond Bain, and you clearly put your hand on that young man's shoulder and said, "Young man, you know what? You need to kind of like
I told him it takes steps
yourself, son."
I told him it takes steps, bro.
Son, where you say, Kim? Kim, where you say, son? You might want to reevaluate what this playoff thing is all about. Which he did not. He was just going on his bravado, his confidence. And unfortunately, he was not the number 2 that the Memphis Grizzlies needed. And then, oh my gosh, so they win that series, right? They catapult themselves
on to the next topic.
Now they're playing the defending NBA champions in the Golden State Warriors, and somehow they're able to resurrect, that the heart of that champion that won in the bubble a few years ago.
They pulled a dude off the bench.
They pulled now they're 3-1
in the fourth quarter. They pulled a dude off the bench.
It's going to be spectacular. If they can get past this, win one of these next 3 games, fans, they will be in the Western Conference Finals. Wow. Might be the Kings' greatest performance as a player that we've seen at this point.
So honestly, do you think you don't really mean that? The greatest performance, you don't really mean that, do you? You really don't mean that.
Okay, Cam. So he played for the championship in 2007. He was 23 years old. We're not gonna count that one. And then he played for the championship.
So now we don't count. Now we don't count championship losses.
So
we're not going to count that one.
So then he played for the championship 8 years in a row, every single year. Won 3 of those, right?
Against Boston, I mean, his 29 straight points against Boston. This doesn't compare to this. Nothing he's done this year compares to that. Nothing. 0. Nothing he's done compares to what they did in back-to-back championships in 2012 and 13. Nothing he's done this year compares to that. Am I wrong?
Yes, Cameron. This is not the team that has Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem on it. I mean, this is a much different team. So, the fact that he was able to resurrect this squad and get them to where they are.
Come on, he didn't play. He missed like 2 weeks of the season. So this is actually a collective team effort. Give your boy Rob to get Rob some credit for putting these band.
I mean, that's cool, Cam. But I mean, you're talking about old stuff, man. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about the here and now and the present.
No, you said this is his best performance ever. That's what you said.
3-1 in the second round against the defending NBA champions. And if they can get past them, then the rest of the conference finals. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought a month ago? You're actually right. From 13 seed to a game away from the Western Conference.
Which is why I say this could be one of the Kings' greatest performances ever.
But you really don't mean that.
I really mean that.
So you live a long way to say, what players have advanced through this felonious metric system you got? I want to know where is Landry Shamet now? Landry Shamet, Lonnie Walker. Do they elevate, or do they elevate their game? Do they elevate somewhere into this felonious?
No, Cam. System? They were role players that contributed at very opportune times and propelled their teams potentially to get to the next round.
So as Kenny the Jet Smith like to say, the playoffs is where you make your fame. I mean, those were big games.
No, those two aren't famous, man. They had great contributions at very opportune times and made the most of it. But yeah, man, no.
So okay, so you don't want to give them credit. We have Jason Tatum, Kyle Lowry, Ja Morant, Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of have to throw Steph Curry into this mix. Where do they
Steph
fall
Curry's-
back?
yeah.
Morant,
Did you just
Lowry
hear
got a ring.
yourself? Did you just hear
Lowry got a
yourself?
ring. Lowry has a ring.
Cam, rewind. You just tried to throw Jason Tatum, Kyle Lowry, and Julius Randle into the same conversation with Steph Curry.
The point I'm making is whose status.
You lose a tremendous amount of credibility when you try and put all of those people in the same category as if they're the same. And they're
question,
one of those is different than the other ones that you mentioned.
So okay, so let me ask you this: put it this way, whose status drops in these playoffs? Does any of these guys' status drops? Tatum, Lowry, Ja Morant, Julius Randle? Do any of their status?
I think the player whose status probably drops the most is Ja Morant, being the number 2 seed and not being able to get it done.
Fair enough. What about Julius Randle? Nothing. You didn't expect a whole lot.
No, didn't expect anything from him. JT is going up against the league MVP, so that's going to be a battle. And another player on that team that's also been a league MVP, so that's kind of a battle.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'll take that. What do you think of Howard Stern being in his feelings because black players aren't showing him no love at the Knicks game when he's sitting on the sideline? What do you think of it?
Yeah, Howard Stern is 147 years old and doesn't understand that sports is generational and that nobody knows who that dude is. That's playing hoop right now. He doesn't resonate with them like, oh, Howard Stern. Oh. They don't even know who that dude is.
He said he's sitting right there though. He got that white dude with the
he
afro.
Is sitting right there, but a 25-year-old does not know who Howard Stern is, man.
Man, that was so narcissistic of Howard to kind of make that statement, don't you think? That was like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if this is 90, if this is 93, yeah. Oh wow,
93. I don't think it was 93. He was still trying to make it some way in 93, wasn't he? It was more like 2003.
Very good point, Cam. If this is 2006, you know who Howard Stern is, like, oh, okay, you need to like get up on some pop culture. But 2023, no, they do not know who that dude is.
Oh my goodness, that was pretty comical. Pretty comical to me to hear him kind of even approach the subject there. So, real quick before we get off of basketball, do the Celtics finish? Did the Celtics get finished off? And the Sixers finished them off, I should say.
No, I mean we don't know. It's a question mark. Question mark. That's why we do this. That's why they do this. That's why they roll the ball out. If they won Game 5, okay, you go back to Philly. You win Game 6. It's coming back to TD, and we had to find out.
Do the Knicks have a chance to pull us out down 3-1 to the Heat?
For sure.
You think so? You think they have a chance to?
They absolutely do. I mean, the Miami Heat's best player is Jimmy Butler, and he's limited.
He's not playing limited in these playoffs.
He's playing like he's Jimmy Butler, and I might go off on you for 48 because I can do that anytime.
Yeah. So what's the limitation?
Cam, I'm so glad that we've gotten to this part of the show because this is what NBA hoop, playoff hoop is all about. Okay.
Talk to me. I asked a question.
This is the time when you're so relieved you have a special player that you can just throw the ball to where they want the ball and they will score. At least every other time down the court. Jimmy Butler has to do a whole bunch of different stuff and score a whole bunch of different ways. This is not like throwing the ball to Hakeem. It's not like throwing the ball to Timmy D. It's not like throwing the ball to Shaq. It's not like throwing the ball to Kobe. You're throwing the ball to Jimmy Butler, and he's really good at a lot of things, but not great at anything.
So you
So
said
so
what
the
it sounds
Knicks
like.
if the Knicks can scrap out and get that 2 or that game back at Madison Square where it's electric atmosphere, okay. Then we go back to Miami and Jimmy's kind of average, not playoff Jimmy. All of a sudden, you got to go back to New York. So yeah, they got a chance.
So you think this is live, huh?
It's live. You have to do it. You have to do it.
I think it's all but done. They go back. They
should be right.
I mean,
but what if it's not? What if they go back to New York and win that one? Now you go back to 6 in Miami, and Jimmy is just
average,
not playoff Jimmy. I mean, he's 22 instead of 44. I mean,
who on the Knicks? So I mean, you just said Julius Randle. You weren't expecting much from him. You weren't expecting much from Brunson. So who on the Knicks can carry them to a win though? When you talk about rolling the ball out, who on the Knicks can pick up the ball?
Nobody, because they don't have any what on their team, Cam. They don't have any what?
Well, they got the first timer. They got
no.
So is Brunson? Wait, is Brunson a first timer?
They don't have any basketball gods on their team, which is exactly what I just said. They don't have anybody they can just give them the ball and they will score, which makes them vulnerable. So yeah.
So by
they go back to New York, they win the game. They win game 5 for sure.
By that definition, then it should be done. It should be a wrap.
Should be,
like my man SB saying.
Except for what, Cam? On the other side, the Miami Heat don't have any what? They don't have any basketball gods that can 100% close this out. They have Jimmy and Bam. Jimmy and Bam?
What is Kyle Lowry? He got his ring. He got a ring now. Now his ring don't matter. Now his ring is tarnished.
It's not tarnished. It's just it doesn't gleam. You're not like Lowry. We're about to go. It's not like no. You play with Kawhi.
He was a factor in the game, though. I mean, he was a factor. He was a factor.
He was a huge factor in those. He played with Kawhi, but now he's playing with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Neither one of those guys are Kawhi good. And we're getting that's what I love about this. We're getting to the part where the margin for error is very, very small. And you have to have, Cam, what do I say?
So by the time
you have to have that dude, and if you don't, the games get hard.
Exactly. That's why he's saying that this is kind of up in the air. That's why he's saying this is still a series because there's no gods on both sides. That's why he's saying
100% correct.
Yeah, that's why you're saying
100% correct.
Yeah.
SB 23, Boston got a usual suspect. 2 of them. Philadelphia, 2 of them. Usual suspect.
MVP.
Miami, a basketball legend in Jimmy, but he's a usual suspect. The Knicks, I mean, I guess we can call Julius a usual suspect because he's the second time there. And Jalen Brunson has been there a couple of times. So, okay, a usual suspect, but by no means a basketball guy. There are no basketball guys left in the Eastern Conference.
So by the time
only one that was there was Giannis, and he's gone.
So by the time this airs, or by the time we record next week, the Eastern Conference should be decided. Eastern Conference Finals, I should say, should be decided.
The
And-
participants, yes.
Well, yeah, the participants, obviously. That's what I meant. They be playing the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's going to be Philly.
We don't know. I will make
You really
no
giving the Knicks a shot?
predictions.
You really giving the Knicks a chance to come back? I don't see the Knicks coming
No,
back.
you said Philly. So the Philly Boston thing is way up in the air. I have no idea.
Philly
The
Boston is up in
Miami
the air.
Heat, New York Knicks should be the Miami Heat in 6.
So then
But
that's
game 5. I think the Knicks can get it. So now we go back to South Beach, and if Jimmy is just so, and Bam is just so,
so is it
and you go
is
back to New York for game 7. I don't like their chances.
Is
Get it
Spoelstra
in 6.
is Spoelstra coaching in circles around Thibs right now? No. You see, this is an even series. The Heat. It sounds like you making it sound like this series is 2-2.
The Tibbs hand, man, is Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson and Obi Toppin sometimes and Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, they're down 3-1.
Don't have any.
Those guys are down 3-1.
They don't have any Jimmy Butler types. They don't have any.
I got the Heat. I got the Heat finish these guys off. I got the Heat. This is gonna be.
They should. They absolutely should.
At the very least, it should be 4-2.
But Cam, if they lose game 5 in New York with all of New York coming out to support them,
and New York was coming out.
New York is like, ooh, like I haven't had an opportunity. I haven't had a reason to come out in a long time.
We ain't shining in a while. Ooh. New York is coming out.
They're coming out. So they get game 5. I mean, just hypothetically speaking, they get game 5. Game 6 is the everything.
The Heat finishes 6 at the very least. At the very least. And then this now that the Boston has spit it up a couple times. Like tonight, they get waxed by 20 on their home court. They lost a game because Mazzulla didn't call the timeout. And your boy Tatum, the god you want to call him, wasn't able to get his shot off.
No. I said the usual suspect. Why isn't he a god just yet, Cam?
I mean, you're gonna say rings, but you're confusing me because you don't want to give Lowry the same recognition for having won a ring as you want to give Tatum. You want to take
Lowry
away from Tatum.
Was the third best player on that team that won the championship.
Third best. Who was the second best? Who was the second best? Just for shits again, who's the second best?
Man, I haven't even looked at
it.
Man.
Exactly. How are you going to say third best? You can't name another player on that team. I could, but you can't. You can't name another player on that team.
Kawhi
he was the number. He was the best.
Pascal Siakam. I mean, there's some other players on that team. I mean, Kyle was there. That's cool. I'm just saying.
Kyle was there.
We're not there, man. No.
All rings aren't quick. I don't know about that. What differentiates you from getting a ring?
No, everybody gets a ring, but the reason that you have the ring is different, man. It's different. Robert Ory's got 7 rings. He's never ever been the best player on the team. Ever.
He's been the best role model. Those 7 teams
could have the best role player on those teams ever.
So you got to give him some love for that. You got to give him some love.
Cam, he's got 3 with Shaq and Kobe. He's got 2 with Hakeem Olajuwon. He's got 2 with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker.
Hey, you got to be
a good your role, setting screens and hitting big shots is great.
You got to be a good teammate.
Nobody is relying on you to bring us home. They don't call plays for you.
That's okay. That's okay.
And as I'm going through this, Cam, because you're making me mad. Do you remember when the Lakers used to play the Celtics, right? In the Garden. And the Lakers would be down by like 7 with like 3 minutes left, right?
I mean, you're making some hypothetical situations.
Magic would get the ball And although it was painfully obvious what they were going to do, he would dribble the ball down the court with his right hand, and with his left hand, he would call a play. Just one play. There's no options here, man. We're running this play. And we're going to run it and then run it again and then run it again and then run it again. And what was that play, Cam? Just so the fans know.
What, Kareem post up?
Kareem post up.
Kareem
post up. That's the play. We're not doing, you don't have to do a bunch of stuff like Steph, like run around the court. You don't have to run around the court 3 times, get all tired. Nah. There's not a bunch of options here. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. It's just that play on that side. We're going to run it. It didn't work. I'll get the rebound. Run it again.
Well, fans, it's the NBA. If you guys ain't caught on by now, man, the NBA, this is the time for the NBA. This is the time that you need to tune in. This is the time you need to be tuned in. Every night we got
not that dude, doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a bad human being, doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means, God, you're not a basketball god. There's not that many of those.
And so by next week, both conference championships should be in action by then. And
let's get down.
Who you got? Let's talk about it right now. Who you got? Who are you predicting? Are you predicting the Suns to come back on the Nuggets? Because let me remind you who you had as of December 22. You had the Nuggets and the Celtics in the finals. Do you want to change that? Do you want to amend that pick, Cleveland, on May 9th, 2023, Cleveland? Do you want to amend the Nuggets and the Celtics in the NBA Finals?
No.
Ooh, no.
I don't. Because those other teams that they're playing have not shown they can do that. And
not even those Lakers. Not even those Lakers. Not even those Lakers, huh?
No.
Not even those Lakers.
No.
Okay. We finally got a little bit of honesty from this dude. Finally. It's about time. It's about time. So let's move on, Cleveland. Let's talk about some NFL right now. Well, we gotta guess. We gotta guess. We're gonna talk about some boxing. Look at that, Russell and your boy exchanging. They calling plays over here on the sideline. Russell and your boy Sean calling plays on the bench, or excuse me, on the front row of the Nuggets game. They're doing a little hobnobbing. Just showing a little chemistry right there. What do you think? It's not on my list, but what do you think of the Denver Broncos with now Sean Payton leading Russell Wilson? Are they fighting for third now? Last year, you and I both agreed that even with the trade for Russell Wilson, the Broncos was going to be fighting for last place, or I said last place in that division. Where do you have them in that division now with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson?
Quite potentially second, no less than third.
Quite potentially second. Are you joking? Are you joking?
They should get that. They should get that second place in the AFC West. I mean,
you stop.
Only the Kansas City Chiefs are above them. The other team is the Los Angeles Chargers. How'd that work out when they went across the country to Jacksonville against Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne?
They're not. You're actually right, SB. You right on the money. SB. He don't want to. He right on the money, and he ain't gonna say nothing either. He not gonna comment on that one bit. I'm just gonna leave it there, SB, because I know Cleveland is scared to say one word either way, left or right, up or down. He not gonna come on. Now he's going and rubbing his hat, and he don't want to talk about it. SB. I'm gonna leave it there, so I'm gonna let it sit on him. And eventually he gonna say something. Eventually, he's gonna say something. Come on, man. You don't got the Broncos ahead of the Chargers, dude. Do
I
you?
certainly do.
Why? Why? Why?
Because the
Why?
Chargers
They won 4 games last year. 4.
they win more than 4 this year.
That does,
You
the
want,
Chargers
you
won 10
want, you want,
games.
you want to put something on it, Cam?
The Chargers won 10 games.
Cam, want to put
The
something on it?
Chargers won.
I bet the Broncos win more than 4 games this year. What you think?
Big deal. Big deal. It
Bet
was
the Chargers don't win 10 games this year. Put something on that.
We had that conversation.
The
schedule comes out Thursday.
Did you hear that?
The
It wasn't
schedule comes
even
out
like,
Thursday.
ooh, wow. What,
The
what you
schedule
waiting
comes
on?
out Thursday.
Cam, what you waiting on? They got Justin Herbert. Yeah,
I'm not waiting. I'm waiting for the schedule. Let's see what the schedule looks like.
Oh, the schedule. Schedule's already out, homie.
No, the schedule comes out Thursday.
No, I
Official
mean,
schedule.
the
Official
dates
schedule
come
comes
out. The actual schedule's already been out.
Who
Man.
they-
Go ahead and
they're
look at
playing?
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at it. We'll have this conversation. We will revisit this conversation. You don't believe in that.
See about how much confidence
believe
you got
in
in that
You don't
10
believe in
wins
don't
for
believe
the
in that.
Chargers.
You don't believe. I said 10 wins last year. They got it. Why wouldn't I be confident in it?
Okay,
Why wouldn't I be confident?
well, then just
Like, you don't got no confidence in your Lakers. You already got your Lakers losing to the Nuggets going to in the
they
Western
should
Conference
be at
Finals.
least as good as they were last year, right, Cam?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, you
Let's-
want to
we'll talk about
co-sign,
next
cool. If you don't, then the fans understand why you don't want to.
We will revisit that topic next week. What do you think about Irsay? What do you think about Irsay trying to get cash for Andrew Luck 5 years after he retires? Saying trying to get team for tampering. What do you think about that?
Love it. Absolutely
You love it?
love it, man.
Andrew Luck ain't played in 5 years. How you gonna try to get some tampering charges on a dude who hasn't played in 5 years?
Because you're trying to get that player for nothing, and you owe us something if Andrew Luck doesn't play. Look at the way he left him, man.
He's
Like,
done
oh
good.
man, I just don't feel like playing no more. Okay, bye.
You guys, the shit. Don't give me some line. I'm breaking down. I don't got no blocking. Man,
I forgot, fans. We almost forgot who is the biggest Andrew Luck fan on the planet, other than Oliver Luck. But yeah, it's Cam.
Yeah, he was a beast, and he got wore out.
Okay, well, if you wanted him to be your quarterback, then I need some picks. Don't be trying to just go talk to him on the side and like you don't have to give me anything. That's
I mean, come
how
on
does that
over here. I mean, don't you have the urge? Don't you have the itch to get back on the field, Andrew? I mean, I wish Andrew Ross would have went and called Andrew Luck instead of calling old.
You wish
Brady.
Steven would have done that instead of calling TB12. Oh well, I mean TB12 had 6 Super Bowl rings under his belt, and then got a 7th one. You know that year you didn't call.
I would have took Andrew Luck.
Not quite the same thing.
And now they had
it's not quite the same kind of call.
Now they had the Indy race was down in Miami this weekend, so everybody's down there. And guess who shows up?
Yes.
Guess who shows up?
Who showed up?
Guess who showed up?
Who showed up?
Talking about I got friends in Miami. You know, I got friends with the Dolphins. If things break the right way, you might see me in the aqua and orange. Tom Brady talking on a mic like that. Oh, I just bought a house down here. I got friends down here. I spent a lot of time down here. Dude, we don't want you on the squad, bro. We don't want you. We're not looking for you. Okay? He thinking he can get some backup duty. Dog, we don't want you, dog. We don't want you. Go back to New England with that BS. Okay? We got Tua, and our backup plan is Mike White. I'm good. I'm comfortable with Mike White.
Oh, a Tua supporter all of a sudden. I like to hear it. Yeah. Tua gonna take you guys to the playoffs?
We got Mike White just in case.
Tua again. I'm sorry. Is the quarterback play gonna take you to the playoffs?
I mean, we got the best wide receiving core in the league. Dog.
You sure
I don't know if
do.
you know. I don't know if you
And
know.
you know what you
that.
need when you have
And
the
we
best
just-
wide
And
receiver
we just
core in the
and we
NFL?
just added. We just added. We just added. We just added somebody you don't even know of. Have you heard of Chosen Anderson? Have you heard of that cat?
Cam, quick question.
Have you heard of Chosen?
Quick question.
Chosen. I don't know how good he's.
I've never heard of Chosen. But
Chosen.
quick question.
Robbie Anderson. He used to be on your New York Jets and then went to Carolina. And the guy they weren't throwing the ball.
Wow.
He changed his name.
Cam,
He changed his name to Coach.
You're including someone that has changed his name to Chosen. Anyways.
Well, not really.
Anyways.
He just on the team.
Anyways, Cam, you know what wide receivers need more than anything when they have the best wide receiving core in the league?
We need just a healthy Tua. That's what we need. A healthy.
They need a quarterback that can get them the ball because they can't throw the ball to themselves, no matter how wide open they are.
Mike White can get the job done.
Yeah.
Mike White.
So you're already talking about Mike White. You're not even talking about Tua. That already shows.
I said healthy Tua. Did you hear me? Mike White.
Cam.
If Tua can't stay healthy, Mike White. Remember the name.
Cam.
Remember the name.
You know how this NFL works, right?
Yeah. Did you see him last year?
Speed of light.
Did you see him?
Your window of opportunity, and I've witnessed this, fans. Being a Seahawk fan, and I thought that window was open for 5-6 years.
It was open. It was open for 8 years until you ran Russell out of town. It was open until you ran Russell out.
2 years that window was open. Back-to-back Super Bowls, and then a bunch of disappointment. The Miami Dolphins do not have a quarterback. And so all those receivers, although they are receiver heavy, doesn't make any difference.
Cleveland spent 3 years trying to talk.
And all of the other teams in the AFC have gotten significantly better, and the Dolphins didn't.
Cleveland tried to talk me into Tua for 3 years, and now all of a sudden we don't have a quarterback. When I mentioned Tua, we don't have he's injured and injury prone.
Right.
But when I
got through all last season, Cam. I was trying to be a believer, but I got through the whole season and realized that that's not a thing.
Why? Because I told you that how many years ago?
No,
Cleveland?
because
what do you mean no? What do you mean no?
Cam. I was on the Dolphins bandwagon. I jumped on.
You was on Tua.
Man, I had to run like the 400.
You was
I was sweating hard. Just barely grabbed onto like the last little, bar. Grabbed on, got on.
If you really listen to the show, you know Cleveland been talking.
And then I saw Tua Tagovailoa was not going to be healthy enough to win games.
How many times?
And then the Jets went and got Aaron Rodgers, and then the Broncos went and got Sean Payton, and then
Jets got Aaron Rodgers.
The Baltimore Ravens signed Lamar Jackson for real, and now it's like, they're not a factor.
The Jets will finish behind the Dolphins this season.
Okay, put some on it. 1, 2, 3.
The Jets will finish behind. I said it.
1, 2, 3.
Done deal. Jets will finish behind the Dolphins.
Okay.
Nonetheless, the Colts have Minshew and the new quarterback Richardson out of Florida. Who do you start? Who do you start week 1? Gardner Minshew, or your Anthony Richardson in the Colts? Who do you start?
Anthony Richardson is starting.
The Panthers already announced that they're going to start Andy Dalton instead of Young. Is that you like that move, or should they just go ahead and play Young?
No, they're saying that initially, but they already know that's a 2-game thing.
That's a 2-game thing. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Week 1. Should the Commanders? They're really rolling. I took strolled through some of the team's depth chart as they had them listed today. The Commanders are really rolling with Sam Howell. Like, they're making the job really tough for our man who left.
Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, they're asking him to do some things that's a little out of character, like, and then they're going to put it all on him, which is like a lie.
Right.
I didn't really
Right.
understand the move to begin with. Like, why would you leave Patrick Mahomes to go
Well, we
try
understand
and
you got
pretend like you can do some things you can't really do? I mean, God, I mean, you got the most explosive offense.
right. Well, we don't expect them.
And now you want to go try and be like, I can make this offense explosive with Sam Howell. They're like, no, you can't.
I mean, that's that. I don't like the look.
And the only reason you're doing that is because the league has said they don't believe that you're actually doing all of this. It's really just
they don't believe in you. That's what this league says.
Copying Andy Reid's paper and turning it in and getting 97%. It's like, so now I got to go someplace where they don't even have a quarterback, like any quarterback, and try and like replicate like a top 5 offense in the league. Like, no, it's not a thing.
Who would you start? Who would you start? Let me take that back. Should the Titans? It looks like the Titans. There's rumors that the Titans are going to move on from Malik Willis in place of Ryan Tannehill. They got Will Levis, who's obviously their future, and they're planning to keep Ryan Tannehill, and that kind of makes Malik Willis an odd man out. Which of the 3 quarterbacks would you keep, Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis? I guess that's the question.
Ryan Tannehill. We saw this go down with Josh Rosen, and that's the best comp that I could come up with.
Malik Willis?
For Malik Willis, yeah. I mean, it's like a top 10 pick, right? At quarterback. Ooh. It's like, okay, this could potentially be.
Was he top 12, I think? Wasn't he like 12? No, go ahead. Go ahead.
My point being that he could potentially be our franchise quarterback, and then they get an opportunity to showcase him in regular season games, and it's like, oh well, I don't feel that confident about him being our franchise quarterback. So the very next season, you go out and draft someone you think could potentially be your franchise quarterback. In the case of the Cardinals, they had the number 1 pick, and they had Kingsbury coming in, so it's like, okay, well, this is a done deal. So sorry, Josh Rosen at number 10. We're done with you.
No, Malik got drafted in the 3rd round. Ooh, that really makes sense.
3rd round?
Yeah, that was the 3rd.
Okay, well, yeah, really easy to move on.
That really.
Sorry, that didn't work out.
Man, wow, that's things happen fast in the NFL, like you mentioned. Things happen really fast. So they got NFL, like I said, the schedule comes out Thursday, the official schedule, the dates come out on Thursday, but there's been some changes in the schedule, Cleveland, that we got to touch on. There's going to be a Black Friday game this season. What do you think about the Black Friday? So the NFL really, they need to stop talking about player safety. Really, they truly need to just stop mentioning it. Because there's going to be a Black Friday game on on Friday. So that means that the 6 teams that already play on Thanksgiving Day, there's going to be 2 more teams that have a shortened week. They end up playing in less than 7 days because the game obviously go from Sunday to Sunday typically. But now, whoever plays on Friday, 2 more teams are going to have that shortened week. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that Black Friday game? Excited about it? Give you a reason to stay home? Will the Black Friday game keep you home?
Cam, I think that this past Christmas, the way they were able to cannibalize what the NBA was doing so easily and by such a wide margin that they don't really care.
Well, I mean, to anybody who knows that just happened to fall on the Sunday.
No.
That just happened to fall on the Sunday. Their intention wasn't to.
Cam, have you studied that? You studied economics, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying
you know what inelastic means, right?
Yeah,
that means that the NFL could play a game at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday and win the market share for that whole day. Anytime they want.
They ended up doing that when they had to postpone the game and put it on
Cameron,
Tuesday.
the Super Bowl was the highest watched television show in the history of television.
Yeah.
And other than Seinfeld and MASH, I believe the next 15 shows are Super Bowls.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So, yeah, roll it out on Black Friday.
Roll it out,
roll it out, whatever. Like, you can change it to whatever you want. You watch it.
So here's another thing that they're so to that point, then they really didn't need to do this though. They're taking this even a step further because now they're having a Black Friday, but all the games are free agents. So last year, AFC would be on NBC, right? The CBS games would get the CBS or Fox would get the NFC games. Excuse me, Fox get the NFC games. So now all the games across all the platforms are free agents. So the NFL is going to say, we want to see the Chargers and the Chiefs on Sunday night, period. You don't have that Sunday night game, you're not airing this game. We want to see the Cowboys and the Giants primetime Thursday night or primetime Turkey Day. And obviously that's going to, or I think anybody can have that game. I guess it's going to be who up to the bidder, because now, they got Amazon bidding for games too. So the NFL is being real shady with their longtime business partners, don't you think? By saying, "Yo,
for sure, yeah, that's
we're gonna take the game on Fox that Fox has been promoting for the last. Well, Fox ain't even gonna be able to promote it this season, but the game that Fox has been targeting for their October 1 debut, they might not even get that game because the NFL might say, "Yo, we want that game Sunday afternoon." And Fox is gonna be like, Fox is now gonna.
That's hard to do. That's hard.
Fox is gonna be scrambling. That's the game. All games are free agents, allowing all games to be switched. So remember last year they were talking about flexing the game into. I think they left it up for the last 5 weeks of the season. They can flex the game for Sunday night. So again, instead of the Cowboys playing the Eagles on Sunday night, December 13th, or Sunday at 1:00, December 13th, that game can be flexed to the evening game. So unless these networks have that negotiated that specific time slot, they might be out of luck. They might be forced to show the Jaguars versus the Titans on Sunday instead of the Eagles versus the Cowboys. To your point, they really did. They took this a step further than I think they needed to take that. Because as you mentioned, people's going to turn on the game anyway. Period. The NFL comes on, people's going to watch this NFL game. If it's Detroit Lions versus Arizona Cardinals, that's going to get some eyeballs. But now they're going to be like, no, we don't want the Lions and the Cowboys on Sunday night game. We want that Cowboys-Eagles game on Sunday night. So here you go, Fox. Here's your afternoon game. Lions and Cardinals. Tonight on NBC is going to be the Cowboys and Eagles. That's going to be pretty shitty. That's pretty shitty for the networks. Now they're changing again. This is another reason I say player safety is irrelevant to the NBA or to the NFL, because teams now can now be on Thursday night twice.
Yeah, that's foul.
Now instead of
not knowing when the flex game comes, you can change that game. No,
they'll probably give you a few weeks. They'll probably give you a few weeks to prepare. But
how could they? No, because they have the ability to change it like at whim. So
yeah, that's gonna be pretty.
You can't just say like, okay, in 2 weeks you guys are really, really good, so you were gonna play on Sunday, but now we're gonna move you to Thursday.
How I think this is gonna go, because again, last year they had, I think it was the last 5 weeks of the season, the games could be flexed. but the NFL
But
had
never a Thursday game, always a Sunday game.
it was always the Sunday game, but the NFL would give them 3 weeks in advance to make those adjustments. Now they're just going to say, all right, Chiefs, you're going to get the Chiefs and Eagles on a Thursday night game. And the Chiefs just played on Thursday night 3 weeks ago. They played the Chargers 4 weeks ago on Thursday night. That's, again, please don't talk to me about player safety again. I don't want to hear that mentioned. Because
if you're doing that kind of stuff, you have to extend the roster. I mean, if you don't,
you would think, right? I think they extended the roster like three players.
That's not enough.
But yeah, they need to extend that roster. You would think that'd be
10 to 12, and then you have to increase the salary cap when you're doing that because now you have 10 to 12 more players. Right. Yeah.
Another thing is not all teams will be guaranteed primetime slots. So the Broncos, for example, they're not guaranteed a primetime slot, so they're going to be able to stay on Sunday. I think that's going to help those teams versus is going to have an adverse impact versus teams like the Chiefs or the Eagles, the Cowboys. I think, it's going to have an adverse effect for those guys. What's your thoughts on not all teams having a primetime slot?
No, because it's just like with anything, except for football is a little bit more, again, using the term inelastic when it comes to that kind of thing. But, I mean, the Indiana Pacers being in position to win the NBA Finals is like, that's cool, but you're in Indianapolis, right? So it hurts small market teams because they'll never be able to flex into that position. It doesn't matter what. I mean, Kansas City's having a hard time, right? And then the second best team is Cincinnati. It's like that's kind of hard.
I think it was those bottom feeders won't be on TV. Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to be on TV. I don't think it has a market size. I don't think
because they've established themselves as that, right? Because but only because of their winning percentage. But it doesn't really. A 6-10 New York Giants will pull more viewers than a 14-2 Cincinnati Bengals team. It just will.
Only because of the population in the market
factors into it.
That does. But I think they're looking at.
I don't think small market.
I don't think they're looking at market teams though. I think the market size. I think they're looking at more the team, the competition, the competitive game. So the Bengals
doesn't matter.
The Bengals versus Bills.
It depends on the market that you're switching this game to.
The Bengals versus Bills,
Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, just because they're better teams. No, man.
No. Those, to your point, those Jacksonville, Tampa Bay will not be moved. That Bengals Bills game, regardless of the market size, is going to be a better game.
You don't know.
What do you mean? They're not moving it for market size.
Okay, so
to your point, with the point you made earlier,
so that's a great example. That's a great example. So
we know they're going to see it.
This question, Cam. Answer me this question. Is the Bill Cincinnati game when they're 11-3 and
the Bill Cincinnati game in week 2 is a better game than
adverse
New York Jacksonville.
Adverse the Cowboys and Redskins, and they're both 6-7.
Yeah, the Bills.
And you're not flexing that game out.
They have to. They have to flex.
No, they're not.
They're not.
Why do they have to? You just said they don't have to do anything. They can do it whenever they want because they know that you will watch.
They're looking for the better game. They're looking for the better game. I don't think that. I
They're
don't think
looking
that.
for the
I don't
game
think market
that
size.
gets the most viewers. The better game is irrelevant.
I disagree with that.
They play all of the games.
I disagree with that. We'll see how it goes. Though I think they're looking for the better football game. They cannot make all these machinations and then give us New York versus the Giants versus Redskins, and they're both 6-7 teams. They can't. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Why have all these?
100% sense because there will be so many more people watching that game.
No, they're watching the Giants versus Redskins at 6, and they're both 6-7 versus the.
It won't make any
Chiefs.
sense to flex to the Jacksonville Tampa Bay game, even if they have better records, because the demographics don't bear it out.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they're not looking at market size versus the talent of the team.
They have to be. Otherwise, why would you flex it out?
Because they want to put the better games on TV. That was the whole thing.
And what does that do? Does it get you more viewers? We already said that. They'll watch whatever.
I don't know. I'm hoping they're giving us a better games and not just a bigger games. When I say bigger, I'm thinking about market size. I hope we don't watch the 3-12 Rams versus the 4-11 New York Giants because of the market size. I hope that's not what they're doing, and I don't think they'll do that. Cleveland are unnecessarily too early top 5 teams from the NFC and the AFC. I'll start with my AFC top 5 of the AFC as right now. And this is way too early, fans, so don't hold us against us. This is this conversation in March. I got the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I got the Ravens and Chargers as the top 5 teams in the AFC. What does your top 5 teams in the AFC look like? You could have the Dolphins in there.
AFC, did we say?
AFC, what you got?
The Kansas
Chiefs,
City
Bills,
Chiefs.
Bengals.
Kansas City Chiefs. The Cincinnati Bengals. The Buffalo Bills. The Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, he got them. So that's our 4 are the same. We got 4 to 5 are the same.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh didn't even make the playoffs last season.
Well, they'll make the playoffs. They're
going with Ritter. Why?
No. They're going Pickett.
Pickett, I'm sorry.
Ritter's down there with the Falcons,
yeah.
running that experiment.
Yeah. Why do you have the Steelers as the top 5 team?
Oh, culture, man. I mean, they were able to weather the storm with a very inconsistent quarterback last year. He'll be better this year.
Oh my goodness! And you and your guy Tomlin, huh?
Me and my guy Tomlin. Culture.
Well, we agree on 4 to 5 teams, fans. What do you chime in? Let us know what you think. Fans, another thing, let us know where you watching us at. Where are you tuning in from? Are you guys in America? You in Canada? You in the Philippines? Where you guys tuning in from? Let us know. Hit us up on the chat or hit us up at _voice of the fans podcast at _voice of the fans podcast. Just at _ voice of the fans. Actually, hit us up. Let us know what you think of our top 5. We agree on 4 to 5 teams. Who should be that 5th team? I got the Chargers. Cleveland got the Steelers. Who you agree with, fans? Let us know who you guys agree with. In the NFC, the top 5 teams I have, the Eagles, 49ers. It gets kind of tricky after that one. I put down the Vikings. I got the Lions and the Cowboys. Now, each of these teams won double-digit games last season, except the Lions. But I got the Lions. I like what the Lions did in the offseason, so I like the Lions. I think they'll be better. They have something to build on. Your guy, the head coach, talking about culture, Campbell has developed a culture where they're competing. They're not winning yet, but they're competing. So I got the Lions moving up to number 4 in the NFC, and then the Cowboys after that. Who you got? Yo, he go deep on his notebook.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
The San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Number 3 team in the NFC.
Yes.
Okay.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Oh boy, come on. Cut it out. Homer.
And then the Minnesota Vikings.
So we got 3 of the top 5 teams, and you got a homer pick. Yo, we got our guest in the house. Mr. Champside. What's good? What's good with it?
What's up, my guy? What's up, Cam? How you doing?
I'm
How you
doing
doing,
good.
brother?
I'm doing good, player.
Leon, this is Champside. Got Cleavon, my man, my co-host on the show.
Nice
Let
to
him
meet
know.
you, bro.
Champside, did you just hear that? Did you hear I know you a New Orleans Saints fan. Nobody got the New Orleans Saints nobody got New Orleans Saints in the top 5 teams in NFC. But this is way too early. This is way too early to really make any type of predictions. But what are your top 5 teams in NFC, Mr. Champ?
I don't know, but I'm going Chiefs next year again. I think Patty going back to back.
He gonna do his thing. You know he's gonna do his thing. You know he's gonna do his thing. So fans, I got Mr. Champ. I'm so excited to have this dude on the air. We've been rocking for a lot of years now.
Yeah,
a lot of years. So where are you at now? What part of the country are you in, man?
I'm on the West Coast still. I'm still on the West Coast.
Okay. Did you get to Vegas? Are you in Vegas or no?
Nah. I was in Vegas for a little while, but I'm in California. So
okay. So man, if you recognize Champside, press one. Press one, fan. If you recognize Champside, that's his line. Champside is one thing I'm impressed by what you've done over the past few years, bro. Is man, we started our YouTube page. I think I started a little after you when you had like 15,000. My dog is over 100 grand now subscribers.
Yeah,
go ahead, let them know where they can find you. On all
I'm about to share this video right now on my page as well on YouTube, so anybody that's following me can follow y'all as well. But I'm on Champside on YouTube, on Instagram, champ_side, Twitter and Facebook at the Champside. And yeah, me and Cam, we go back. One of the few people I really respect, doing, covering sports, all around sports. You already know that I used to always tell you, like, man, I want to do the football too. I want to do the basketball as well. So, I definitely appreciate you inviting me on your platform. I really don't appear on too many platforms. So, I think you might be one of the only people that really know, what I'm saying, what I look like and stuff like that. Because a lot of people for a long time, they never saw me. But more recently, like you said, as I got around, 100,000, I started showing my face more and more. So here we are.
Congratulations on the grind. He's been grinding. But it's not only the grind, bro. He come with content. He come with factual content. And it's hard to rebut. It's hard to rebut some of the facts that he come with, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it right now. So again, boxing, man. We talked a lot of sports over the years, but boxing is your main thing. And so I want to get somebody in depth, because my man's not a boxing fan. Champside. Cleavon, he doesn't really want to talk boxing unless it's Spence and Crawford. I keep telling him, man, there's so much more to boxing than just those two cats. They're the cream of the crop. They're what everybody want to see right now. But there is so much more to boxing. So let's talk about it. First thing first is the pillow talk. Spence and his girl. I saw that. It was kind of funny to me. Earl Spence is a different cat, man.
Why do you call it pillow talk? Not, this is new for me. I for everybody that's gonna see this, I'm usually not the person getting interviewed. So,
well, I mean,
again, we go right there. But why you say it's pillow talk?
Because it's him and his girl.
He's interviewing by his girl.
Yeah, it's him and his girl, and I mean, I don't know why she was so nervous doing the show. Like they should have did it around the kitchen table or something to make her feel more relaxed. But it was just that's why I call it pillow talk. It was just more him and his girl, and then she was allowed. I'm sure he was more open with her than he would have been with either one of us. 100%. So it's just pillow talk. I thought it was funny. I thought it was some good content came out of there. Funny thing is, I actually thought when I first clicked on it, I thought it was like 15 minutes long, and then here I am, 45 minutes into the show. 45 minutes later, it's still going on. So, but it was good content. The parts I thought it was funny. He was talking about Ugas and knocking out his partials. I thought that was kind of hilarious. Right. And again, that's something he definitely wouldn't have talked about with you or I.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
But before I continue, I'm a little disappointed. We don't see the starter, man. Where's the starter at? Where's this? The Champside, the black and yellow starter jacket.
Oh,
the varsity jacket.
The jacket. Well, the thing is you probably couldn't see much of it anyway because of how the camera is.
Sure.
You know,
No.
I actually, you know what's crazy is every time I'll go to the fight, I would wear all my Champside stuff, but I never got, you know, I wanted to be like you, wear a nice suit, wear a lot of different stuff, you know what I mean? But it's all about branding, right? So
Right, yeah, that's why it makes sense,
now that
bro.
I'm on camera and stuff, I'm kind of like, oh, I could just wear, you know, what I would normally wear.
Yeah,
But
it's all good. It's all good.
but
I
yeah,
just want to
man,
give you a hard time about that.
it's all good. It's all good. I love it.
So, yeah, I thought that was funny when he talked about Ugas. He thought Ugas knocked us partial out. Obviously the key thing he's planning for the fight with Crawford. They're in the works about that. Now, one thing I talked to Sean Porter and the fans. I got it on video. It's in my intro when Porter's talking about it being a business. My specific question was for Porter was whose responsibility is it the fighter saying I want to fight this dude, or is it the promoter saying we're going to make this fight? And I would think as a boxer that you want to make that fight instead of the promoter telling you what to do. From your vantage point, is it the boxer, Crawford or Spence, need to make this happen, or is it the promoters, ESPN, PBC, that's kind of waiting for this things to bubble up? Who's the fault? Who's the fault for this fight not happening yet?
Well, I think it's all about timing. You know, I was breaking this down to my audience as well a couple of days ago about how one of the things, you know, for all the people that watch your channel that don't follow boxing closely, you could look at like Floyd Mayweather, right? One of the great things he did that people didn't like is he basically put the main fight you wanted to see towards the end. It's like some of the content you put out, right? I said, for example, you know, on YouTube, people will make a 10-minute video, but they won't tell you what you came to hear until the 10th minute, right?
Yeah.
You will get
to hold you on there.
Yeah, they'll keep you. It's like a movie or a book or anything, right? There's a process to the story, right? There's a climax, and then there's so I feel like this fight in particular, of course, Spence and Crawford would fight each other, but you know, there's so many people involved. There's networks involved, like you said. There's promoters involved, and I think they have a timeline that they want this fight to be on that might not agree with most of the fans, right? The fans, we ready for the fight now. But then, like Mayweather Pacquiao, right? They made how much money? $400 million together. So what they have made 400 million. It's like, if I give you what you want right now, it's like you're still gonna stay and watch me either way, right? So they can build up to them fights and, you know, get these other fights in until they hit you with what they really want to hit you with. And I think that's why Floyd Mayweather was so successful, and he made, you know, $400+ million, almost $500 million from one fight. One fight.
Yeah. But so, bro, it's been 3 years.
Me if Crawford or Spence is ducking each other. Is that
No, I don't think I wouldn't say ducking each other. I don't know why they're prolonging the fight. Like, it's been 3 years now. That fight can't get any bigger. That fight can't get any bigger without them fighting.
Good point.
And I don't think what I found was interesting that he said is he doesn't need a warm-up fight and doesn't want a warm-up fight. He wants to get right in it. Well,
right.
He's one of the best. And according to your list, he's the top 3 fighters. These are the top 3 fighters on your list that we're going to get to later.
Yeah.
This fight can't get any bigger is my point. So when you say we want to stall them out or make fans wait and build up the fight, I don't know how much bigger we can get. One thing Eddie Hearn said that I found was interesting. Eddie Hearn said this was before Canelo fight Bivol. This was last year before Canelo fought Bivol. He's like, well, the reason that fight they talking about they waiting for the money and they want it to grow is there's no money in that fight. I was like, Eddie, how can you say that? He's like, well, listen, who's going to watch that fight? When I put my guy on there, Canelo, Bivol, and to his point, they're bringing countries to the fight. Well, we're bringing boxing fans. We're bringing America to the fight. They're bringing countries to the fight, which made that Bivol Canelo fight huge at the moment. I know I can see the smirk on your face. Go ahead, go ahead and say what you got to say. Go ahead and say it.
Nah, I mean, I hear all that, man, but I think, honestly, I know you have a well-rounded platform that reaches many people, but one of the most underappreciated and undervalued and understated uh entities in boxing is the quote unquote black dollar, the black boxing fan. Um, when you look at the biggest fights in boxing, they all had black fighters in them, whether it was Floyd Mayweather, whether it was Mike Tyson, whether it was Evander Holyfield, whether it was Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. And those guys have crossover appeal, right? But it's like people have seen the combat world. When Conor McGregor fights, the Irish support him. You know what I mean? Comes out flag waving. When Canelo fights, the Mexican fan base comes out and support him. So the only time that people don't talk about the black fans and stuff like that is when black fan, like when a big fight is made, you know what I'm saying? And there's a black fighter, and you go to Vegas and you can see these same fighters that are from this country get booed, and the fighter that's from a different country will get praised right here in Vegas, or you know what I mean, or wherever we at in LA. And you've been to fights, so you know what I'm talking about. But shout out to the people coming in from my channel. I see y'all in here. I told y'all I was gonna bring them in.
Yeah, bring them in, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out.
I was trying to get my green. I'm not used to using StreamYard, so I was trying to get my green screen fixed. But I didn't want you to be able to say I was late, so I was like, man,
no, bro, you in the game. You in the game.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, yeah, the black dollar, and that's Eddie Hearn was speaking totally against that black dollar.
And not to cut you off, but Eddie Hearn. For people who don't really know, I like Eddie Hearn. He's a very good promoter. He's very charismatic, but he's on the outside looking in. If you ask someone like a Leonard Ellerby, Leonard Ellerby said Eddie Hearn doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't really have a foothold or a star in America. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's kind of on the outside looking in, and he would say something like that about a fight that is not his. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's facts. That's 100% facts right there. Another thing I found interesting about that pillar talk, and I'm gonna keep addressing it as pillar talk because I think that's what it is. Shout out to all you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate Champ for being here. He said he admitted he walks around at 185. My question for you is, if he's walking around at 185 to get down to 147 to fight, why isn't he fighting at 154 or 160? Is Spence is a dog. We know who he is. We know he's proven himself in the ring. Is that punching power that much different from 154 to 147?
That's a great question. I want to say Errol competed at like 152 in the amateurs or something like that. I think that's the weight class in the amateurs. That's where he went to the Olympics at. But the crazy part about boxing is a lot of the boxers, the top boxers, they all cutting a lot of weight. They all cut, I don't know, 20 pounds. And there's a difference in the weight classes. The guys get the punching power goes up. The punches are heavier. The guys have more body mass and stuff like that. So everybody in boxing is trying to get an advantage any way they can. So I don't believe personally in weight bullies or nothing like that, but for the casual fans out there or the people who don't really follow boxing, they call these guys weight bullies sometimes when they feel that they're dropping too much weight before a fight. But some of them guys have great genetics. They've been losing weight since the amateurs, so they just be locked in. You know what I mean? It's great genetics. If you stay in shape, you can maintain your weight, and keep it low. So I mean, yeah, we've been knew Errol was 180 pounds, 190 pounds. I mean, you've seen him in person, especially like in between fights or when
he's not training. Yeah, when he's not training.
Exactly. So he definitely is a solid dude. You know what I'm saying? But if he can make the weight, he can make the weight. But he did say, like you said, that he used to dread camps. You know what I mean? He would dread camps.
Yeah, so that's something that I'll be looking to get some clarification first from. Let's talk about these fights that we have coming up. Well, let's back up and go to. Do you want to talk about Tank and Ryan Garcia? I was really
We
surprised.
could
Did you
talk
go to
about
that one?
everything you want.
Did you
Everything
go
you
to
want.
Did you go to Tank and
No, I
Ryan? Did you
didn't
go
go
to
to
that
it.
one?
I
I was
called it live though. I called it live.
I was so surprised that Ryan talked his way into that fight. I thought Ryan should have been fighting Devin Haney before for a chance to fight Tank, me personally, because I think they're closer.
Mhm.
Although I thought Haney would win that fight, I thought that was they're closer. That would be a closer matchup than than Ryan and Tank.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts? Are we going to see Ryan or not? Excuse me, not Ryan. Are we going to see Tank and Haney anytime soon?
Tank and Haney. Ideally, that would be the next fight for Tank Davis. You know, he would want to go get all of the belts. You know, even though he's a superstar attraction. You know, Devin Haney is fighting May 20th against Lomachenko on ESPN. It's a huge fight for boxing. Ideally, yes, but I feel like Tank is trusting this process of fighting what they call the Mayweather green print, which goes back to something I said earlier, which is you fight Latino, Hispanic, Mexican fighters, because like you said, they bring a different country. You're not pulling from the Tank and Devin have the same fan base, right? So when you go outside of that, you can get more. Just like when Tank fought Ryan, you see what I'm saying? Everybody know that Tank and Devin, Tank and Shakur is like those like the best guys right there.
Those are
But they all had the same fan base. You know what I mean? So it like, Mayweather
Good
picking.
point. Great point.
It's like Mayweather picking Guerrero and Ortiz and Castillo and Corrales and Cotto and Canelo and Guerrero. I mean, so many different ones. I mean, he fought Mosley and a couple other guys too, but I think that's, it's one of the things in boxing. It's like there's an old interview with Muhammad Ali. I'll never forget it. And he was just talking about how, how much stuff he talk and how much people hate him. And they say they hate me so much that they're going to pay to come see me. So I just kept talking more. So that's kind of what happens in boxing. You know what I mean? The more you talk, the more it's like in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Perfect and, them guys like, the more you talk, the more people want to see you get beat. And that's what Floyd was like. I'm a bank robber.
And that's what he was doing. So does Haney Loma, are you excited about this? It's a big fight, but I think Loma, this is 2 years. This is 2 years past Loma. Loma didn't want to give Haney a chance when he had the belts.
Fact.
Now Loma's kind of like on a rebound, if you will. He's trying to go after somebody with the belts. And Haney, this is the fight that probably should have happened 2 years ago. Now I think Haney's going to dominate him. That's what I would anticipate. Haney's going to dominate him. What do you anticipate?
I'm thinking Devin like 9-3 maybe. As far as scores, like people who, I want to keep in mind that a lot of people might be fresh to the platform, stuff like that. But 12, I think it's going to go 12 rounds. I think it'll be competitive, but I got Devin, like you said, dominating.
So you saw I talked to Haney in the summer league. Haney was at the summer league, NBA summer league this past. He was at the summer league, and I before going to I had Kambosos winning that fight. Kambosos.
You had Kambosos beating Devin.
I had Kambosos, him flying to Australia, and Kambosos beating Devin. I told him that. I didn't like no. I had him that. I was assuming that shame on me. I had Kambosos winning because I expected Kambosos to come out hungrier than he showed in that fight. Haney stuck that jab in his face in the first round. I think the first 10 seconds of the fight, and he continued that sticking the jab in his face all night long, and there was nothing Kambosos could do. He just kept him off balance, and he dominated the fight with one punch with the jab. Obviously, he has a lot more in his toolbox, but he dominated that particular fight with the one punch, and Kambosos had no answer for it. So I told him, I was like, "Yo, I had Kambosos in there," and then he told me what he told me. It was pretty funny.
What did he tell you again? Remind for those who didn't hear it. What did he tell you?
He's like, "You believed in the hype, and I bet you don't make that mistake again." And he's right. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make that mistake again. The only thing about Haney is, I think he's tactical. He's more tactical than anything else. That's his advantage over anything. He's tactical. Yeah, that's about right there. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. He's just going to tactically break him down and dismantle him throughout the fight. That's kind of what I anticipated. You got him 9-3, so that's good. Let's talk about some of these young cats that haven't made. You don't have on your top 10 list. Let me see. No, you got Fulton there. You got Fulton there. Boots Ennis, Stephen Fulton, Gary Russell, Keyshawn Davis. Is Keyshawn Davis in that upper echelon right there where he's ready to break through, but he hasn't broke through yet? He's not there yet.
Davis?
Keyshawn Davis, yeah.
No, not top 10. No,
not obviously. I mean, you don't have Boots just slid in there. Boots
are you able to put the pound for pound on the screen, just even if it's temporarily? I'm just curious, so people can see it. I wanted to put it in my background behind me with my green screen, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I had to mess with it.
Let me.
If not, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I got it. I got some other stuff on there, but it'll be cool. I got it. It'll give me a second. I got this right here. This.
Pound for pound list. Listen, when I dropped this list, it changed the whole boxing world on his head.
You know your shit. You know your shit, bro. Ain't nobody arguing with you. Ain't nobody arguing with you. And now I just wanted to talk to you because I got some questions on here that I'm like.
No, it's all good. Trust me, I love this type of stuff because iron sharpen iron. So I pretty much heard it all. I've heard a lot of things about my list, and I refuted some things.
So here we go, right here. Here we go. Champside top 10. I'll let everybody know Champside top 10. This ain't my top 10. This is Champside top 10. And I'm about to
as of January 1st, 2023, and I have not updated it in 5 months. Purposefully. Yeah.
When's the next update?
Well, you got to think about it. The guys on my list, half of them haven't fought this year.
So, boom, 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 ding, 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 ding.
So that's a problem, and that's what it is.
And that's something we got to talk about. That's something we got to talk about. So you have Jermell, not Jamal. You got Jermell Charlo.
Yes.
At number 1. He's fought Tony Harrison his last 5 fights off the top of my head. He fought Tony Harrison, Castaño twice, Cota. I'm not sure that's
Rosario.
I'm not sure that's top 10 worthy, bro. What is it his skills? It's not who he beat. Why do you have him top 10? Or top number 1?
Well, to go along with my list, in rare form, I created a set of criteria to judge the pound for pound list. And I wish, I don't know if I can share documents with you, but I'll read this little piece that I created.
If you got a word or something you can share that you want to share?
It's a JPEG, like a picture file.
Yeah, but email it to me. I'll pull it up. Email it to me.
Okay, hold on. I'll reply to the email you sent me. But and I'll talk about it as I'm sending it to you. So basically, what I did was I created, because a lot of people say, well, first of all, let's establish this. The pound for pound list is completely subjective. Okay, it's not objective. And there's a difference between the two, right? Mm-hmm. Subjective is completely opinionated. It's based on my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not so any list you see is going to be based on someone's opinion. It's like you asked me when I came in, you basically asked me who my top 5 pound for pound in the NFC was, right?
Right.
That's basically what you asked me. And so I will go into, well, why you got this team? You literally asked me something like that, right? So I just sent it to you, so you should be getting it right now. So what I did was I created a pound for pound criteria. Let me know if you got it, and I'll kind of work my way.
I'll pull it up. But my initial question is so that was the first question is Jermell. And so I'm interested to hear this this criteria. And we got Spence Crawford. I mean, they're top of the game. I personally have Shakur. I think Shakur is a better fighter. He has more punching power. He has more punching power. He's gonna get hit less than Haney. That's why I've Shakur above Haney.
So who do you
so which one is it? So is it this one and the same thing?
It's both of them. It's two slides.
Okay, it's two.
It's two slides.
I got them. I'm trying to open them up. Okay. All right. So yeah. So go ahead. Talk about Shakur versus Haney.
So so let me talk about it within the context of what you just said in the pound for pound list, right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because I love that fight, by the way.
Ooh. Yeah, I do too. That's oof. That's
yeah. So the reason why I have Devin over Shakur, actually, ironically, I always had Shakur over Devin, right? Until Devin became undisputed in his weight class, right? Okay. Devin is undisputed at 135 pounds. That means he has all the belts. No one else is a champion. There's 4 world titles in his weight class. He owns all 4 plus the Ring Magazine belt, right? Shakur is also in Devin's weight class. So is Gervonta Tank Davis, right? Shakur, Devin, and Haney. I'm sorry. Shakur, Devin, and Tank are all in the same weight class. The only difference between them is that Devin has all the belts and he actively wants to fight, the top guys. So that's why I have Devin over Shakur, even though I kind of agree with you that Shakur might be more skilled in the boxing ring, a little bit more polished defensively, and a little better all around. But again, Devin has all the belts in his weight class. He's undisputed. If you look at my list, and when you say Jermell Charlo, you must mention that he is also undisputed, right? So
right, yes, okay,
he doesn't control who weighs 154 pounds in the world, does he? He just fights everybody who's in his weight class, and he's been knocking dudes out going back to he's been fighting. Jermell Charlo and Jermall Charlo are throwback fighters. Them guys they came up under Evander Holyfield and Vernon Forrester, right? So when you watch them fight, they fight like that as well. They fight in, especially Jermell. He can, box on the outside. He can bring it to you. He can fight at mid-range. He can pretty much do everything in the ring. Plus, he has an iron chin.
Okay.
Right? So, were you able to get the?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Go ahead. I'm about to get it. I got it.
Well, let me just talk to it, right? So I created a pound for pound criteria, a guideline to be able to judge who is the best fighters in the world.
This nigga said a guideline.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? Because look, on the Voice of the Fans, I'm going to give them everything that they need. You know what I mean? So there's no confusion, right? This is how we do it on the baddest brand in the land, Champside. Okay.
Okay, so I gotta stop sharing. I gotta stop sharing this so I can share this. Hold on. So I gotta stop sharing it. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Shout out to my guy Kevin Effect, man. Y'all leave these people alone, man. Shout out to all the people on my channel. So I'm not really sure what you're showing, but let me just talk to what I have in front of me. So I have a pound for pound criteria, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 criteria. Okay, there we go. Now I see you. Let's cook. Okay. So I have this criteria, right? And the first one is skills, right? So all of these things, it's not one thing outweighs the other or one thing's come first. It's like a pot. All of these things go in the pot. So you have skills, resume, ability, talent, activity, no PED users, meaning no one who's ever been found positive of a banned substance, and then no heavyweights. Because historically, when you look at the pound for pound list, it was looked at as everyone under heavyweight, meaning if you took the same fighter and put that fighter in the heavyweight weight class with his skills, how would he pan out? Muhammad Ali, I have a post from him where he said, I'm not the greatest. In fact, Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest. If you took Sugar Ray Robinson's skill set at middleweight and all the weights he fought, and you put him at heavyweight, he would be the greatest boxer to ever live.
Yeah, right.
See what I'm saying? So we have skills, right? Those are things that a skill is developed, right? A skill is developed over time. It's like you're interviewing, you're podcasting, you're when you're asking questions out there in the field, you have to hone your skills, right? Your timing. You know when the proper time is to ask a question, when to go, and so skills are developed. You know, your resume is what you've done, right? Your abilities are things that are like God-given. Like some people can sing, and that's also a skill. You know what I mean? You develop that. But some people do things naturally. That's your ability / talent, right? What you actually, ability is everything you can do, the range of what you can do. Talent is more like what you're God blessed with. You know what I'm saying? What you do naturally. And then your activity. I saw you ask me about Tank Davis activity and stuff like that. Activity definitely matters, but you also have to put in the context that here and now, most of these guys fight once a year, if that. And you know that, right? They fight twice a year. It's rare that somebody fight twice a year. So those are my criteria. Now, if you don't mind, can you go to the other slide?
Yeah, let me get that. You got Cleveland. Go ahead, get him. Get him on this one, Cleveland.
Yeah, let me know if I'm talking too much.
No, you good. You good. You good.
I
This is right up Cleveland's alley. You having this criteria. We just had a criteria conversation. Chance. So this is right on Cleveland. This is right up Cleveland's alley. Cleveland, go ahead, get him.
Let me just add this real quick. I believe you could take that and you could use that list and you could put that in football. You could put that in basketball. Same stuff. Skills, resume, ability. You could apply that to us. But go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. Get him, Cleveland.
No, I appreciate you kind of breaking down like the timeline and the climate of boxing and the way that big fights get made. You know, I am very much old school and have been watching boxing for a long, long time. And the criteria has been very different over the years and has evolved to a situation that we're at now, right? And so I look at your list of what is the criteria for pound. And the thing that is disappointing as such a big avid boxing fan over the years is that none of that criteria will make a big fight, because it almost seems like making a big fight is almost like creating an IPO or creating an investment at its highest and best point, and that the other factors won't really resonate with the fans or with getting a fight made, because there are other factors to consider. And it's just simply a matter of when is the best time to maximize the most dollars, adverse whether this guy just doesn't like each other or whether we just got to get down in this ring and find out what's up real quick, or none of that really seems to matter. And that in the past, there's been talk of like, oh, there's all these corrupt promoters, Bob Merrim and Don King, and they're selling your money and they're doing this and that. And then you flip it around and, well, now Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya are their promoters, and they said, well, we're going to, clean up this sport and make it like it was, or like it should be, not like it was before. And you get, for me, it never seems to be established where that breaking point is, where, okay, we have to have this fight now because this many people want to see it. And these two people are the same weight and they've been beating up the same, caliber of fighters for quite a while now. And I want to see those two fight. It seems like that is a very difficult benchmark or jump off point to establish. And so, unfortunately, it leaves a lot of big fights on the table, and it leaves a lot of fights that, in my opinion, as a fighting fan, not as a promoter or someone that, is generating revenue from the event, that it's disappointing that it took so long to do that. And so just from your perspective and what you've seen, have you seen a few fights that either took place after when you thought they should have, or do you think that most big fights take place right when they should?
I mean, yeah, I think no. Most big fights don't happen when they should. I agree with you there. The pound for pound list has nothing to do with how big a fight is or the big fights. Well, to a degree, right? There are some of the best fighters on my pound for pound list that will make up a big fight. But the pound for pound list is kind of like completely separate than, for example, who's the biggest draw. You know what I'm saying? The pound for pound list deals exactly like you said in my criteria. It says nothing about money. And the funny thing is that what you're talking about is, shout out to my guy BFTB, you're talking about the best fighting the best. And a lot of times that doesn't happen in boxing. We get a lot of like you said, we just get, like I said, we get build up fights to whatever fight they, boxing is boxing and horse racing. I don't know if y'all checked out the Kentucky Derby. I'm trying to diversify my palate, but the Kentucky Derby, right? Somebody said something crazy there about boxing, and I loved it. There was a owner there, or not a jockey, a owner or one of the breeders that, control the whole thing. And he said, you know what? Horse racing and boxing have what in common? They're one of the few sports that have been around forever that don't have a commissioner. So it's literally the wild, wild west.
Right. Yeah.
One of the few sports that doesn't have a commissioner.
Would that make the sport of boxing better if they had an actual Max Kellerman to run it all, or they had a Leonard Ellerby to run it all?
Max first.
Just anybody. I mean, just it's anybody. Would that make it? Would that make it? Would that make it? Would that improve the sport of boxing?
It's hard to say. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I have to think about that. Honestly,
a person. So before you jump into your criteria, fans, you guys can be a part of the show. If you're not a part of the show already, you can be a part of the show by jumping in a private chat, or you can jump on @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fans, if you want to, on Twitter, if you want to be a part of the show. Champ, go ahead, let the people know where they can find you as always. Obviously your people are already in here, but go ahead and let the others know where they can find you.
Well, yeah. Subscribe to my channel, Champside, on YouTube. Just simply put in Champside. It's a big gold logo. But big shout out to all the people that's in here, coming from my channel, and y'all subscribe to Voice of the Fans. This my guy Cam. We sent a few people over this way, right? Over the years.
Oh man, over the years we've been doing it. Like I said, the last time we were in Ontario, I had to give my man so much love. Ontario, I think by Ontario, you had 30,000. That was the second Tony Harrison, second Tony Charlo fight. We had 30,000. Yeah, I must have picked up about 1,000 followers from that night from jumping on with you. But yeah, Champ is doing it, man. Champ is doing it, and you gotta check him out. You gotta watch him. He's on there consistently. He brings consistent content. That's the consistency is what's impressive, and then the factual content is what is also very impressive. So I like that, and that's why I really want to. You were my first call, bro. So I really respect you for coming on.
I appreciate that. Of course, come on now. Of course. So go ahead.
So go ahead now. Go through your criteria. The rest of your criteria.
So let me go through the criteria so you could get this list off your screen. So the pound for pound criteria, right? It goes into what my last slide as well, but this is something I put out, to kind of clarify. The pound for pound list is a hypothetical list ranking the best boxers based on who would win or dominate in any weight class, regardless of weight. That means if you take a 135 pounder, a lightweight, and put him at heavyweight, what is his skill set like, right? If you take a guy that's 118 and put him at heavyweight, or put him at middleweight, or put him at 168 or 175 or 154, how do they pan out? Because the weight that's literally what pound for pound means.
Give us an example. Give us an example of somebody who transcends the weight classes.
Shakur Stevenson, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Put him in any weight class. He's one of the most skilled boxers, right? Now, the punches are heavier, but again, he's a smaller fighter. So we just don't know, right? That's why it's hypothetical. That's what makes it hypothetical. But
Brazilian dad, together we all win. Together we all win. You're right. You're right. That's your boy. Shout out to your boy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Shout out to the people coming in, man. Y'all subscribe to Voice of the Fans and Cam. And I didn't realize you interviewed Kobe Bryant.
Talk. I've been
What?
at this, bro. I've been at this, dog.
Oh man, I
I've
know
been
you.
at
I
this,
know
man.
you put in some work. You know what I mean. I seen you out there. Remember when I seen you out there in San Diego
At the
at
the
the
Chargers.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So regardless of weight, so the pound for pound list is a hypothetical list ranking the best boxers on who would win or dominate in any weight class, regardless of weight, or if weight was removed from the analysis, if weight was not a factor. I mean, everybody's stagnated across different weight classes because of weight. Sometimes it's 3 pounds, sometimes it's 5 pounds, sometimes it's 7 pounds, right? But who's the most skilled, right? Something in some of his eye tests. So the pound for pound historically has distinguished fighters below heavyweight. It's not inherently an accomplishment list. So you could get rid of the slides. I know you want, the faces on the screen, but I appreciate you pulling those up. So basically, going back to why I got Jermell Charlo number 1. I have Jermell Charlo number 1 because I've seen everything from him. I've seen him in a dog fight. I've seen him, in controversial fights. He has one of the best jabs in boxing. He has one of the best chins in boxing. I believe if Jermell Charlo went to 160, I believe if he went to 168, 175, he would be one of the most skilled all-around fighters in the world. He's rarely tires out. You know what I mean? He had a very controversial fight with Tony Harrison, but that fight was super competitive. You know what I mean? It's not like you've ever seen him get washed. He went on a run where he knocked almost everybody out cold. Erickson Lubin was a up-and-coming rising prospect or contender in boxing. A lot of people pick Erickson Lubin to beat Charlo. What happened? He knocked him out in about 30 seconds, right? He knocked out Hatley quick. He knocked out Harrison he avenged all his, you know what I'm saying?
He avenged the loss, not the only one loss he had.
And
then
draw.
Castano, he came in and cleaned up both.
Right.
I think that was very impressive for him to clean up Harrison when he got him the second time. And then Castano the second time. I mean, it was no question. He erased any question. So I respect
his weight class. And so I've had Spence number 1 and I've had Crawford number 1. Right. And they were going back and forth, but they haven't fought each other, which goes into the brother's question about the big fights. So I felt like I couldn't put Spencer Crawford number 1, being that they haven't fought each other. And Jermell has completely wiped out his weight class.
You still have them. Activity was one of your criteria, and these guys haven't fought in 3 years. We got Haney who's been fighting. We got Tank who's been fighting. How does that play out?
Well, I think that I'm assuming that Charlo, Spence, Crawford, Fulton is scheduled to fight anyway.
Yeah.
Bivol doesn't have a fight scheduled. Better BF doesn't have a fight schedule, neither does Ennis. So I want to say like 7 out of 10 of my fighters, they haven't fought this year. I'm assuming they're going to fight this year. But the thing is like, okay, say Shakur fought twice this year. One, we got to consider who he fought. And does it trump everything that I've seen from Bud and Arrow and Jermell? You see what I'm saying? So I get that Tank fought 2 Garcias this year. He beat up 2 Garcias. He sent 2 Garcias to the Garcia family reunion hurting. One of them couldn't breathe and the other one couldn't see, right? But the bottom line is this. Is Ryan Garcia better than Sean Porter? Is he better than Danny Garcia? You know what I mean? Is either Garcia better than, a Kell Brook? Or,
so are you penalizing Shakur though, because you're saying the quality of talent that he's fought isn't comparable to Crawford or Spence, but that's because cats don't want to fight him because they know he's dangerous. Is he being penalized because of that?
No, he's not being penalized. Actually, ironically enough, I've ranked Shakur Stevenson higher than anyone since the beginning. I actually had him as high as number 4 or number 3. So he's in my top 5. He's probably in no one in boxing's top 5 that has a platform, you know what I mean? Like mine, now some fans will say that boy is the best boxer in the world. And I've been saying that as well. But, Arrow was ducked. Jermell is ducked. Crawford is ducked. When you get on this list, you probably one of the most ducked fighters. And honestly, I think that the guys that beat the guys on my list are the guys on my list. See what I'm saying? Like
I got
Haney, Stevenson, Tank. There's a reason why they're lined up like that, because I truly believe that they only beat each other. You see what I'm saying? But
well, we got the baddest brand in the land over here talking boxing, and I'm chewing up this list here. And I still think
keep trying. You're not trying. You're not going hard enough though. You gotta think better than that.
Stevenson is. I mean, we just not gonna. There's too much love to just sit here and argue with you. But I can tell you that I think Stevenson. I think Stevenson would do it. Haney. Shakur has punching power. He's accurate. He has too much defense. Although he hasn't cleaned out the division, he don't have all the belts that Haney has. I think he's a better fighter. I would love to see that fight, but I think that fight is still a year. What was saying 12 to 18 months away?
Yeah,
I think we're still 12 to 18 months away from that fight.
I would
like to go ahead.
The argument is that Shakur Stevenson is a 2-weight division champion. He was a world champion at 126 pounds, and he's a unified champion at 130 pounds. He lost his, he did lose his belt on the scales before moving up to 35, but now he's in a new weight class with all the sharks. And I have no problem if you have Stevenson over Haney, honestly. But I gave Devin a nod based on, again, let me ask you this question. What is the only tangible thing in boxing that determines who the best? It's not objective. I'm sorry, it's not subjective like my opinion and your opinion. What is the one thing?
The belts.
It's the belts. It's the belts. So what belts does Shakur Stevenson have right now?
Okay, but you just said he moved up though. We're looking
100%. Yeah, he did.
He just moved up, so he don't have any belts in this weight class, but you can still look and see the kind of the work, and you the eye test matters. So as we're looking at, this is a subjective list, and subjectively, I have Stevenson ahead of Haney, but I can't argue. It's hard to argue when he's walking around with 4 belts in his hand. It's hard to make that argument until we actually see them.
I had Stevenson over Haney until Devin became undisputed. So I agree. I agree with you.
Do we see Fulton? Do we see Fulton in we have Fulton fight? He fight in July, right? He
July 25th, I believe, on ESPN in Japan.
That Beterbiev and Bivol fight, I think. That's gonna be a murderous fight right there if that happens. Now, there's no reason we should be waiting on that fight. That fight should be happening pretty soon, by the end of the year, I would think. But Ennis and Fulton, how soon do we see that fight by the end of the year?
Fulton in a way, or you Ennis
and Fulton Jr.
No, not Ennis wouldn't fight Fulton. Ennis is at welterweight. Remember, Fulton is at like 122.
Oh shit! Okay, my bad.
Yeah, no. Ennis is like a potential for a Virgil Ortiz or a Keith Thurman or some other welterweight, maybe Errol, maybe Crawford, but probably
that's after somebody fight. He's gonna fight the loser. He'll probably fight the loser of Crawford Spence
or Ugas or somebody.
Yeah, Ugas. There's a lot of gatekeepers out there. You mentioned Thurman. You mentioned Garcia earlier. Does Ryan fall into that gatekeeper category where he becomes a boxer they fight to show that you have talent to be in the upper echelon? Because
I kind of want. If I was on my channel, I would mess with him and call him a gatekeeper. You know what I mean? But on your channel, I'm gonna keep it real. No, Ryan's not a gatekeeper. I mean, not yet at least. I mean, Ryan fought one of the best boxers in the world. He was outdone. Huh?
So you're not mad at the fight then?
Which fight?
Him with Tank.
Well, I knew Tank was going to wash him.
So the
fight went exactly how I thought it would, except honestly, I thought Tank was going to stop him even sooner than the 7th round.
I said 6. I didn't expect a knockout in the second, but I said 6, and it was. I expected it to be a no contest, really. And which is, did Tank break a sweat? I didn't see Tank do a backflip though. I gotta ask Tank what happened. I didn't see. Did he?
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I'm laughing at the chat. Shout out to my guy Desington. See, they know I've been messing with him, but yeah, it's all good, man. I really respect Ryan. I'm glad he took that fight, man. And let me tell you, he had boxing buzzing. Like if we would have covered that fight live, that fight wasn't like none of the fight. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there, but I know he's crazy. He talked his way into the fight. He hyped it up. It was a great. That was a spectacle because of what Ryan did, and he had a lot of people fooled because I knew it was gonna. I had it in 6. I mean, true boxing people knew that it wasn't gonna last long, but he had a lot of people fooled just by talking a gang of shit. And so kudos to him because he made a lot of money. But I'm just saying, like, where does he go now? He's not an elite boxer. And it doesn't make sense for Haney. He's not going to fight Haney. That doesn't make sense for Haney to fight him. He's not going to fight Loma. Loma's going to be washed after Haney washes him. He's going to be done. I don't know where he goes now because he's not an elite fighter. He's not going to be able to keep. He's not going to be able to contend with shit. Who can Ryan contend with? I just wasn't that impressed.
He can fight Rolly Romero, who's fighting.
There you go.
This weekend.
He's fighting this weekend. Yeah.
So there's, they have what they call tiers in boxing, right? You got your A tier, your B tier, your C tier. He just needed to play in his conference. It's like college football.
Good point.
You know what I mean? You got your conferences separated and regional, and he just need to compete in his own conference. He's not in the Devin.
He's not in the ACC.
He's in the. He ain't even in the.
He's in the MEAC. He's in the MEAC.
Yeah, I don't know which. He in one of them Mountain West type of. I don't know. I don't want to disrespect nobody conference, but you know what I mean. He's
I feel you.
He's in a different conference, and like you said, boxing is all about marketing. It's not about what I can do on the night. It's about will you click on the red button to buy the fight. Hey, whatever happens once you buy it happens. And Ryan hooked everybody in, and the fight generated roughly $125 million in total revenue.
Yeah, I mean, he had the followers, and that you talked about that crossover appeal. So kudos to Tank, and Ryan had that crossover to kind of make that a big fight. So kudos to them guys. Cleveland, what you think about this top 10?
Man, I love it. And when I see it, it kind of makes me, think a lot more about. And thank you for bringing this up. It's kind of the difference between how boxing operates and how other individual sports operate. So, for example, if you were a tennis player or track and field or other individual sports, this list would be like super, right? But then we got to go to the Penn relays, but then we got to go to Wimbledon or even horse racing you mentioned earlier. Okay, well, all these fighters are going to be at the Kentucky Derby, and we're going to see what's up. And so with other entities and other things that kind of control how these things get laid out, and even the way that you were saying, like, this list will change because these guys got to fight each other, right? And we got to find out. But in order to find out, it seems very controlled, and almost like it has to hit its apex of what that fight is really worth. Adverse, like, I just want to see these cats fight. But I definitely like your list and would love to see these fighters fight each other, man, for real.
Yeah, I think just to add to that. So if you look at the list, and I'm sure you want to move on, Cam. So we got Bivol and Better BF. Them guys have had the same they have had titles in the same weight class since 2017. But because they don't have huge fan bases, no one really like, them guys need to fight. They need to fight because no one even in hardcore boxing fans, they don't really talk about them guys. So especially people that's not really. So you got, if you look at my list, Bivol and Better BF can fight. And if you look at my list, Haney, Stevenson, and Tank can all fight each other. If you look at my list, I really Spence Crawford and Charlo could fight each other. So we got a lot of people, like you said, that if they fought each other, my list would look way different.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because
it almost seems like there's more of a risk to losing the fight than there is an advantage to winning the fight. Because if you win the fight, you just kind of stay where you're at, and you kind of you gain more respectability. but it seems like the fear of losing the fight makes people not want to engage in it.
100%. And that's not just, that's beyond the pound for pound. When you lose in boxing, you kind of go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
You don't make as much money. You lose all your leverage. You know what I mean? As far as negotiating and getting bigger purses and everything. So you're right. A lot of the guys, I believe these guys on my list, most of them they really about fighting whoever. But again, it's not just these guys, man. It kind of reminds me of Lamar Jackson. I really like to talk about other things more than boxing, but you saw what happened with Lamar, right? I mean, I guess he was working outside of the system. They didn't like it. They blamed his mother, all of this stuff, right? And, it's not just him, right? He got to do business with the owners and all of these agents. And it's not just like, he can't just say, oh, I want to go out there and play next season. You know what I mean? There's always people cutting checks. They own the networks. So, I mean, that's kind of where it goes, what it gets down to it.
Let's get into Teofimo coming up. Let's talk about some of these other fights that we have coming up.
Absolutely.
We got Rolly coming up. We talked about Haney and Loma. Teofimo, Josh Taylor. Is this Teofimo lose this fight? He becomes a gatekeeper. Come on.
Well, what do you define as a gatekeeper? Tell me.
Again, like, I think Danny Garcia is a perfect example of that. If you have a stepping stone, if you beat Garcia, now we can consider you in the second tier, and that's what I mean by gatekeeper. But you have to beat this guy. If you can't beat this guy, then there's no way you can be considered for a big fight. So Teofimo, come on, he's lost twice, right? He got 2 L's, right?
No, one, I believe, to Kambosos, unless he just got one to Kambosos.
That was an unexpected loss. I think that was an embarrassing loss. Because he should have mopped up Kambosos.
Yeah, he got upset.
But him fighting Josh Taylor, like Taylor's a solid fighter. So now he has to regain. He has to really knock Taylor out to be considered to recapture some of that fame he has. If he doesn't do that, again, I truly feel he's a gatekeeper. He's not he's a above average fighter who's not in the elite level fighter. That's what I would consider a gatekeeper. Am I wrong about that? Do you see that fight a little differently?
First of all, I used to have Josh Taylor on my pound for pound list as well. He was an undisputed champion. I'm sorry. Can you go back to my list real quick? Can you scroll up back to the list? I just want to pinpoint this for the people. Jermell Charlo, my number 1 fighter, is undisputed. That means he has all the belts. My number 2 fighter has 3 out of the 4 belts. My number 3 fighter was undisputed at 140 pounds and has a belt now at 147. Also had a belt at 130. My number 4 fighter is undisputed right now. So when you look at my top 4 fighters, all of them guys are have at least won 3 belts in boxing, which is super hard, right? But I got basically 3 undisputed champions in my top 4 and 1 guy who's missing 1 belt because the guy right underneath him, he haven't fought. Then you go down and you got, Stevenson, who's been unified. Tank has, been a champion by beating Pedraza and Leo. Then you have Fulton, who is a unified champion. You have Bivol, who I believe I think better BF and Bivol are unified. If they fight together, it'll be for undisputed. And then Ennis, of course, who hasn't won. But go ahead, go back to Teo and Taylor. So I had Taylor on my list. He was undisputed, but he lost his belts by being inactive. That goes back to the activity, right? So is Teofimo a gatekeeper if he loses this fight? I don't think so. I mean, it's like he can still fight other guys and win. This is a tough fight for him, though. He's moving. He has moved into the 140 division. He got his success. He was unified at 135 pounds, meaning the difference between unified and undisputed is unified means that you have 2 or 3 belts, right? Mm-hmm. Undisputed means you have all 4 belts, right? So you have one. Usually what happens is one guy got a belt and the other guy got a belt. When they fight, they unify, right? And then one guy will have 2 belts. Or sometimes one guy have 3 belts and one guy have 1 belt, and they unify, and then whoever wins has all 4 belts. They call that undisputed. So I think T.O. can still fight like a Regis Prograis. You got guys like Gary Antoine Russell out there. There's a lot of guys that he can fight, but he's gonna have to be on the B side, and he's gonna have to take, he's gonna have to be the challenger and take that B side money. He can still market himself though, but this is a tough fight. He says this is his last fight with ESPN.
I saw that.
Did you hear what he said about Ward and Bradley?
I saw that. Yeah, her with Bradley and Ward. I don't think Ward responded, but Bradley.
Yeah, Ward responded. He said he's a lie.
Okay. I saw that. And I mean, he blows a lot of hot air. And so he talks a good game, but he shouldn't have lost to Kambosos. And you talk so much, and then you go out there and just piss on yourself in a fight that you really should win. I mean, that it was just a bad look. So yeah, I think he has to win. He doesn't have to knock Taylor out. And Antonio Brown says
wasn't a good game plan.
Right. You supposed to be him and his pops. I mean, you guys know this going in. You should be better than that. No, he shouldn't have lost to Kambosos.
He came out in that fight in the first round and he shot his whole load. When we say that in boxing, that means, you know what I mean? You shot your whole load.
He just did too much.
He came out like he was going to stop that dude in one round. He tired himself out. He got gassed.
So we talked about we talked about a lot of this already. Keyshawn, I like Keyshawn. He is young, but I like Keyshawn. He's coming along. Between Gary Russell, Keyshawn, which one of these guys will make the most noise? Boots Ennis, I think, is going to be there. He just has to wait his turn. I think that's where he's at. Gary, which one of these guys you like best? Gary Russell, Keyshawn Davis, Fulton. We'll see what he does in a couple weeks. Which one of these guys, or a couple months actually? Which one of those guys do you like best between Gary Russell, Keyshawn Davis?
Well, I'll say this: Stephen Fulton, out of the 3 or 4 names you listed, Stephen Fulton is the most established. He's the most proven. He's accomplished the most in boxing, right? Out of all 4 of them, the guy that jumps out to me the most on my, his eye test is Jerron Boots Ennis, right? Because that dude, I mean, he looked literally like a Fight Night character. He looks like Roy Jones. He looks, the things he can do is, as freakish in boxing. Gary Antoine Russell is very good. He competed for our country in the Olympics. He just hasn't had the hype around him. You know what I mean? Boxing is so much about marketing. This guy's the boogeyman. Nobody want to fight this guy. This guy is ducked. I think Gary, I think I like if I was ranking them. So I'm sorry, what's the question again? You're asking me who's
no, I was just asking you who you like between Gary Russell and Keyshawn Davis. Like who you like the most? I like Keyshawn. I like the Keyshawn. He's just young. He's just young.
Yeah, Gary Russell, I like them all. But I think Boots has the highest ceiling. When we talk about who can accomplish the most, who can go the furthest, who could do the most. I once asked Boots Ennis what was his ambitions in boxing. And he said, I want to be undisputed at 147. I want to be undisputed at 154 pounds. I want to be undisputed at 160 pounds. And I might even go up to 168 pounds and be undisputed. So I said, this guy is 25 and he already got 30 fights. So I also asked him, I said, you're 20 fights away from breaking Floyd Mayweather's record, right? I said, do you think you could do it? He said, yeah, I think I can do it. So that might be in his goals, but he has to fight more. He has to fight way more. But yeah, I like Boots, Fulton, Gary Antoine Russell, and I think Keyshawn have the most to prove. Frank Martin has been calling out Keyshawn.
I forgot about Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Boots. Unfortunately, Boots he's just in the back of not in the back of the line. He's just number 3 right now, number 3 or 4 in his weight class.
Yeah.
And there's only so much can do because he's
waiting on Spencer Crawford.
Yeah, he can murder these guys, but he's still going to be behind Spencer Crawford for whatever they decide to do or whatever happens there. So that's going to be interesting. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye out on. Canelo, obviously, he tried to bring in John Ritter, and I think he showed his age. He didn't expect to get beat up like that. He take a whooping like he did in Guadalajara. So I think that answers this question: is will we ever see a Benavidez Canelo, Charlo Canelo? He better not go fight Bivol. I go tell him. I think I have to go stop that fight. Don't go get in the ring with Bivol. But do we see him fight Benavidez or Charlo? In your opinion?
I don't think. Well, again, this goes back to the politics of boxing and what side of the streets these guys are on. You know, Canelo once turned down 40. It was between 45 and 55 million to fight David Benavidez. He also turned $45 million down to fight Errol Spence, and he also turned down 45 to 55 million dollars to fight Jermall Charlo. Right? PBC.
But that's before he took a whooping, though. That's before he took a whooping.
Yeah, well, before he went, yeah, exactly. Before he went and re-upped with Dazin, as I like to call them, he was offered a three fight option from Premier Boxing Champions. They offer him those fights at pretty much $50 million a piece. He passed on all of them to go fight, you know, a John Ryder or John Ritter as you called him. John Ryder. So I mean, I think he probably, honestly, I think he'll fight Bivol again, but I don't think he'll win. But I think Canelo is I think he's a prideful fighter. He ain't too proud to duck some fighters now, but he's very prideful. You know, he got washed in that Bivol fight. Okay, it wasn't even competitive to the point where you're saying that you're gonna stop him from fighting. So he got cooked. He got washed. Okay, now, but yeah, I don't think he's going to win that fight, but I could see him taking that and it being like one of his last hurrahs or something like that. But it's just a shame how Canelo didn't fight a Charlo and Andrade, and you know, so there's a couple guys he could have fought.
But when they get those belts, like kind of like Loma, they think, okay, you're not worth fighting until you have a belt. Well, you got the belts, dude. So I can't fight. I can't have a belt if you got the belt.
Well,
what
Andrade
about
had the belt
at the time? Like what?
Well, this is what happened. Canelo had 3 belts at middleweight at 160, and Andrade had 1 belt. If they fought, it would have been for undisputed to see who's the king of the division. But Canelo, he went a different route.
Yeah, he didn't want that smoke. So what happens to Benavidez? I think Benavidez has kind of worked through his troubles. I get the feeling that he's worked through his troubles. He's taking the game a lot more serious. However, he's what happens to Benavidez? What's out there for him?
I like Benavidez, man. I always like Benavidez. I've been to his gym. I like his attitude. I think that he was getting outboxed by Caleb Plant, though, pretty beautifully. Caleb Plant boxed beautifully for like the first 5 rounds, 6 rounds maybe. And after that, he couldn't take that. That dude is an animal. He's a savage. He's huge. He's big for the weight. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think honestly, Benavidez can make my list as well pretty soon, but he definitely need that signature, you know, more than the Plant fight. But as far as him fighting Canelo, I don't know. Maybe Canelo want to pass the torch to the Mexican Monster and give David a shot, and you know he go out in a blaze of glory, whether he win or lose. And you know if he lose, he'll pass that. You know what I'm saying? That torch on to Benavidez that night, or maybe he just don't fight him at all. It's hard to say with Canelo, but I think David is probably looking to fight Andrade or Charlo. And I think that, you know, all 3 of them guys are trying to fight each other. I think Jermall is going to move up to 68. And I think that'll be some combination of who fights who.
Charlo, I'm concerned about Jermall being out. What, he's been out 3 years now?
Right.
Like
it's maybe 3 years.
I'm concerned about that. It just as I'm concerned about Spence Crawford. If neither one of them have a warm-up fight before they fight, like that's gonna be ugly. That's gonna be an ugly 4 or 5 rounds because they're gonna be testing each other out. Neither one of them gonna be sure. I think that's gonna be an ugly few rounds until they get serious and they get comfortable back in the ring.
Ring rust.
Yeah, ring rust. Champside, I love you, man. Thanks for taking time to join us, man. It's been great. I appreciate all your fans for tuning in. You guys have been hopping on the chat. It's been hot, keeping it hot. Let the people know where they can find you once again, big guy.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Cam, voice of the fans. Subscribe to his channel first and foremost. You know, I had to get up to date with you. So well, I don't put too much on there, but
Yeah, we can
you
chop
know,
it up. You got the
yeah,
number.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, you can visit my website, champside.com. I have a website. You can go there and I have news and merchandise and things like that, you know, ways you can contact me. Also follow my Instagram. It's champ_side, CHAMP_SIDE. Follow my Twitter at the Champside. Champside with the in front of it, the Champside. Facebook, the Champside. And especially follow me on YouTube as we have just hit a new milestone, 100,000 subscribers.
Congratulations, brother.
It's a product of the fans.
That's
It's
great
a
work,
product
man.
of the fans, man. And like I said, I'm sure you know, like I know, man, it's, you know, I might be a little bit younger, but you know, I grew up watching TV and all of these people talking about sports, and I love sports and, you know, play sports and competed, and, you know, you talk about stuff, and it's such a blessing to have a platform where you can just kind of say what you want to say and speak your mind. And, you know, you never know who's going to watch. Like, I don't know who's going to be in these lives when I'm talking. I don't know who's going to find my channel, you know. Just like the beautiful people that came from my channel and that's on your channel already that came in here, you know, on this night. You know, I didn't know who was going to be in here, but you know, you just do what you do. And like I said, I'm just thankful and grateful. So if you want to subscribe to my YouTube, Cam used to always give me a hard time because I'd be going off on the people in my chat. But again, a lot of it is entertainment, man. You know, for whatever reason, these people love when I yell at people and I go off, and that's what they like, man. And you know, a lot of times, sometimes I'll like feel that and I'll play into it a little bit. But I mean, like when I really get fired up, I get fired up, right? But sometimes I play into it a little bit more because I know I'm giving the people what they want. So, you know, it's that's all that is, man. It ain't never personal, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Follow me. I'm kind of wild on here, you know what I mean? I'm a loose cannon, I'm a live wire. So, you know,
True fans of Champside, press 1. True fans of Champside, press 1. I love it. He stays on them. He gives them a hard time. Make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that like button. If you don't, it's free. if you don't hit that like button, I'm cutting off. So well, hey, somebody told me to ask you about the time you threw the chair. What happened when you threw the chair?
Somebody asked you that? Who asked you that? Oh, in the chat. Oh, shout out to my guy Kev. So I was talking about the pound for pound list, and what happened was, and you know, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I just keep it real with you. Like when I put my list out, I got a lot of hate because
certainly.
A lot of people of other, you know what I'm saying, fan bases, they felt like they fighter should have been on my list. So, you know, I was being called everything under the sun. I won't repeat it, but so that's what I had to do when I didn't realize so many people cared about what I thought, you know, because on my platform, they said, hey, who you got? It's like you asked me my top 10. But when I put my top 10 list out, it went viral and all the boxers, you know what I mean? All the fans.
People checking for you.
Yeah, so I was like, y'all really care what I think. Y'all never acknowledged me like that, right? Though. Yeah. And so when I did that, it forced me to go in this mode where I had to like explain my list over and over and over and over, which is why I could come on here and easily, you know, that's why I did the criteria stuff, right? To support my opinions, because people think, oh man, you're just picking your favorite fighter. You're picking who you want to be on the list. No, this is what I'm basing it on. I'm showing you, right? So I made the criteria. And one day I was talking about Sean Porter, and you know, Sean Porter has fought everybody in boxing, everybody at welterweight. He fought Ugas, he fought Crawford, he fought Spence, he fought Danny, he fought Devin Alexander. The list goes on and on. Berto, whole bunch of guys, right? Keith Thurman, he fought pretty much everybody. So I said, how is it that he's never made the list? He's fought all the best competition, even though he took losses. But then there's guys that are unknown who are on the list from fighting literally nobody. See what I'm saying? So it's like we go back to the conferences. Everybody looks good in their conference until they get in that bowl game and they get that team from the SEC they say they want it, and the SEC team whipped that you know what. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. So it happened a lot with, like, I don't know, is it Ohio State? One of them teams that always play a SEC team, they get cooked in the Sugar Bowl, in the Fiesta Bowl, whatever it is. So
Gonzaga and the NCAA.
Yeah, there you go. So that's kind of what it was. I was just saying, like, this dude has competed against the best. So if you fight the best more times than not, you're gonna have losses. Opposed to when you don't fight all the best guys, you know, you probably will have a lot more wins. And so what happened was, I was like, he ain't on the list. And I didn't, you know how you're talking into the microphone, but my energy was like all everywhere. I just got up, and I think I was on like a wooden floor, and my chair just slid into the wall. So everybody's like, "Oh, you threw the chair! You threw the chair!" It was crazy. And then Max Kellerman had Sean Porter on ESPN a couple of days later to talk about the pound for pound list. Max Kellerman, there you go. See, the people know Max Kellerman. I'm gonna read what Sam said. Max Kellerman copied this man's talking points verbatim, and that's all I got to say.
You know why? Now you know why. When I brought up Max, he looked. He had the side eye. I was like, "Why you bring up Max?"
Yeah, why would you? Yeah. But no,
I was just talking about anybody, bro.
Listen, if I have something great to say, or you have a great point, and it makes sense, then hey, let's get on the same accord with understanding, opposed to just running around with nonsense. You know what I mean? So yeah, he copied what I said, but you know, it is what it is.
But that shows, man, again, people checking for what you do, man. That shows your work. That shows the commitment. You know, what do they say? Imitation is the best form of flattery, champ. So keep it up, bro. Keep it up. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, Champside on the Voice of the Fans podcast. So I'll give you a round of applause, man. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
And shout out to both of y'all, man. Y'all continue to do y'all thing. For the people that's coming from my platform, when can they catch y'all? I think that's important, you know, to put that out there too.
So yeah, we record typically every Tuesday night. It was Wednesday, but I got some things going on. We had to move it to Tuesday night. Typically every Tuesday night we talk a heavy NFL, heavy NBA. We do some Major League Baseball, even some hockey. It's cracking right now in the hockey season. So we talk about it's cracking, the Seattle Kraken, bro. My man from Seattle, I'm from Seattle, so it's a lot of Seattle.
Oh, you're from Seattle? Okay, so I had my Mariners hat on the other day.
Yeah, so again, you gotta get the new one. We got new stuff out there. You know, the All-Star game up in Seattle this year, so they introduced new gear up there. So
I like that what's his name? Julio
Rodriguez.
I like him. He make me watch. Yeah, he make me watch. I know about him a little. Do you cover PGA, NASCAR, or I guess those are the main ones?
No, not PGA. No PGA. Haven't done any PGA. Did one NASCAR event that was years ago. I'm not a SoCal, so bro. Before I left SoCal, I was doing the Long Beach tour, the Long Beach Pro-Am, the Long Beach
golf
street racing. No, the street cars. The street cars.
Got you.
How much?
I'm not familiar with that, but
yeah, man. When they block every year, they have the street cars race in Long Beach every year. I did that. That was dope. Man, let me know. I can get you on. We can talk about that offline. But yeah, man, I do
on y'all live, man. I'll pull it. Y'all, so y'all are live on Tuesday, you say, right?
Every Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night we live. This is live.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, every Tuesday night we live. Voice of the Fans. It's on HMB Media. Voice of the Fans on YouTube, and then it's on my Twitter page @_Voice of the Fans. So be sure you guys check it out. Appreciate all you guys.
You got a second? I'm sorry, you got me on here, so I got it.
What's up?
Can you talk about what you asked Jermel Charlo and his response?
Oh, from years ago?
Yeah. You didn't want nobody to know about that.
No, it's on. It's on. I think I got it. I played it. So what happened was after he lost to Tony Harrison in New York, that was the first fight I went to. The first fight I covered was when he lost to Tony Harrison in Brooklyn. It's the same night he and his brother fought, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually watching that fight, I didn't have a dogging the fight. I'm totally a bystander, not knowing anything, not knowing who was fighting. I thought Jamal lost to Matt
Matt
Kognov.
Korobov,
Korobov. I thought Jamal lost to Korobov.
A lot of people did, and Jermell went.
But then, and I thought Jermell won, but Jermell ended up losing. They gave the fight to Harrison, and so after the fight in the press conference, Mel was crying. He was on stage crying. He's disappointed. He lost. He was upset. It was an upset loss. He was upset. Man, he's crying. That's why I don't even play video games no more, because I hate losing. I'll say, okay, put that in my memory. Okay. So it wasn't the Harrison fight, it was a fight with Cotto in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
it was
years
that
later,
replacement fight, yeah.
So 2 years later, it just so happens I'm standing in before the press conference to that fight. It just so happened I'm standing right where he came in and entered with his bouncer and his whole entourage. It's about 18 people he came in there with. So I'm standing right there, and they all walked around the room, but Mel came in last, and he ended up standing right next to me. So he had his gold glistening. So I was like, "Oh, you shining tonight, huh?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "You must be feeling good, whatever." He's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, so have you picked up the sticks yet?" And he's like, "Picked up the sticks? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Have you picked up the sticks?" And then he's like, "Have you played any video games?" He's like, "Whose side are you on? Who you talking about? You trying to make a meme or something?" I was like, "Dog, I just asked you, have you picked up the sticks?" And then he start his bouncer, dog. His bouncer was about 6'9", about 425, came and kind of stood in between us because he was getting excited. And his bouncer noticed that and kind of stood in between us. But then when he stood in between us, he started getting louder. And then when he started getting louder, his manager's, "You can't talk. If he don't want to talk to you, you can't talk to him." I didn't say, "I'm not talking to you." Well, first, I didn't know who this dude was. I'm like, "I'm not talking to you." I said what I had to say. And then dude, it was like, you remember, you saw the movie Enter the Dragon when Kareem kicked Bruce Lee in the chest and Kareem's whole foot was on his chest. His whole footprint was on his chest.
Yeah.
Dude put his hand, bro. His bouncer's hand was, it was unbelievable. He shoved me with just one hand. And I tried to catch my ground and catch my grip, but he shoved me with one hand. And then that's when the manager was like, "No, you got to get out of here. You can't be in here. Now Mel's getting all loud. You can't be in here. He don't want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah." So they kicked me out of the press conference. That was it. You can find the video. The video's on my YouTube page. You can find the video. But yeah, he didn't like me asking him about about playing the sticks. So I thought I got to kick out of that. The only person I was really worried about that day, I was worried about Watson. I was worried about Sam Watson because he's the one. Yeah, he's showing all the love every time I was trying to get into the fights. He's showing all the love. So I was worried. So I had to, shout out to Sam. So I was like, "Sam, like, dog." So I go to the I'm going to the back to the media workroom, and he's like, "Dog, the press conference is this way. Where you going?" I'm like, "Nah, I can't go to the press conference. They don't want me in the press conference." And he's like, "Man, these guys, those Charlo twins." He's like, "They get mad when they're about to come, man. You can't say anything to those guys." Yeah. I was like, "Oh shit." It was crazy. It was crazy. Shout out. You can find it's on my YouTube, Voice of the Fans YouTube. Just type in Charlo fan didn't like what I had to say. And it was crazy. It was a crazy incident. But yeah, that's what happened there. Were you there? Were you in Vegas that day?
No, I covered that fight, but I wasn't at that particular. That was like a pre-press conference, wasn't it? Like
it was kickoff. Wednesday. It was a kickoff. It was a Wednesday.
I wasn't there, but I think I saw it on your channel. I was like, damn, like, when you it's weird because I'm not gonna talk long because I know y'all getting off, but it's just weird because when you're out there, you're dealing with boxers and they cutting weight and they like real hype, especially the Charlos. And you just there to ask questions and do your job. And sometimes you try to placate into their emotions so you don't like startle them up, but you don't know what's going to set them off. So I kind of felt for you though, like, because I know your intent. I know you don't mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't mean no harm, but I kind of felt for you in that moment watching that video. I'm like, damn, because I know that could have been me the way I asked, you know what I'm saying? I asked certain stuff. And that's why I kind of like YouTube. you know what I'm saying, opposed to being at the fights. Because here I could just be who I am and say what I say. There it's different. You know, it's obviously you want to be professional, but again,
right.
You know, it's just anything can set it off. So yeah, that's it. I thought the people from my life and the people from
it's funny.
that
If you
seen
guys
it might want to hear about that, but
again, you guys could check it out. I was recording the incident, but because of how it went down, I didn't get everything, but it was pretty funny. It's worth checking it out. Charlo didn't like what the voice of the fans had to say when he asked him about playing on the sticks, and that's what it was all about. And that was the gist of it, because he said back in Brooklyn, I don't even like losing. I don't like losing. That's why I stopped playing video games. So that's what I asked him. I was just like 2 years later, and then he was a little salty about that. So again, it was pretty funny. It was a funny moment though. But thanks again, Champside, for joining us, man. It's been all love, man. And make sure we stay in contact, because I'm gonna get you on here again, big guy.
for sure, anytime, just hit me up. All right, brother. Nice to meet you, and y'all have. I wish y'all nothing but great success on y'all platform. Hopefully, y'all get plenty of new, the right subscribers, even no matter the quantity more than the quality. People that's gonna be in here and chop it up with y'all. So thank y'all for having me on the platform.
Much continued success to you as well, bro.
Keep it up, bro. Holler at you soon.
All right, peace.
Later. Yeah, man, that was dope. That was dope to have, fans. We went way late, man, but thank you guys for sticking with us.
Quick break, Cam. We'll be right back.
We gonna end it. Give me 2 minutes. We'll end the show right here. I just want to end it with the quote, fans. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen, but effort, nobody can judge that, because effort is between you and you. You know who that is, right? I repeat that. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen, but effort, no one can judge that, because effort is between you and you. Hall of Fame linebacker, Mr. Ray Lewis. That's Mr. Ray Lewis says that. Fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate Cleavon for hanging along. We appreciate Champside and all his fans for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Go ahead, hit us up at _ Voice of the Fans to be a part of the show. At _ Voice of the Fans to be a part of the show. Voice of the Fans on YouTube. Make sure you guys join us this week, next week, and all the weeks after that. Every Tuesday night, we here for you guys. Cleavon, let's holler at the fans later. Thank you.
Right on, bro.